Wait, I'm not ready. I wasn't
Too
ready yet.
bad. TikTok, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. And yes, Apu Packer, I'll puff daddy. It was a lot of files, as you'll see. Nathan sent me a bunch of video clips. I asked him for all the video clips that are relevant to everything, and he sent me a ton of them. Anyway, I was making them right before the show, and it's been a lot of them. Although, to his credit, he did send them to me way ahead of time. I just started making them a little while ago. So anyway, my fault, my bad, my bad, my bad. But here we are. Here we are. All right. So
Okay.
as usual, we got AP. What's your new? Have you still going with AP for now? AP.
For now, yes. Yeah.
Okay. And we have trying to think if there's been anyone bigger than MilkBarTV in responding to to Andrew Tate's lies over the past couple years. It's you and Murdered by Crayons, isn't it?
It is. That's usually the two of us. It is. We always get tagged together. Like, check out these two accounts. So see the lies exposed.
And why don't before we jump into anything, why don't you tell because I'd be interested in knowing what two things. One, what made you interested in responding to the Andrew Tate stuff, and two, what gave you this kind of relentlessness with respect to it? Because a bunch of us respond to Andrew Tate, but we like do so periodically. Something happens and we'll toss in a response. As far as like really seriously going through all his stuff and finding all the refutations of everything he's saying now and so on, that seems like a lot of work. So what? Yes, how'd you get into it, and why this level of dedication to doing it?
I was making videos on different topics. I still do. But the first Andrew Tate video I did was in response to his Tucker Carlson interview back in July 2023. And I just got so fed up with the people like Piers Morgan and other people that interviewed him, who never really addressed the fact that he was a literal pimp, who openly spoke about that, about exploiting women and scamming men, his customers. It was always about this thing of like, oh, you said this misogynistic thing and you posted this misogynistic thing. And it was never like, oh, you literally built an empire of human exploitation. And by the time he did the interview with Piers Morgan, I'd kind of was a little more familiar with his background, and I just recognized that he was straight up lying to Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson would ask him, "Are you charged with rape?" And he would say, "No, I'm not charged with rape," when he was, definitively charged with rape. So that's what prompted me to do the first video on him. And that one just went really viral, and then I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole and got more and more knowledgeable about his criminal cases, and who he was, and just recognized more and more how he was just completely lying about pretty much every aspect of his criminal cases. And then, I'm a filmmaker. So it was this unique thing where I had this guy who just filmed countless hours self-snitching and just confessing to his crimes. So it was just this it was just this gold mine of just like being able to make unlimited videos, just exposing him. And I'd continually more videos would pop up. I'd be like, I haven't seen this one. This one's even worse. So my whole mission was I was going to cut all these, these like he'd do these courses that are hours long, and these podcast appearances, and just cut them down into like bite-sized videos where they cover each topic that exposes him. Because I thought they'd just do really well on social media because people could then just drop them in replies to just show like, look, here's proof he's lying. And it worked really well. People have bookmarked them, and they drop them all the time, and they've got more and more airplay, and prominent people like Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro and others have played it on their shows. And it's just a rabbit hole that you fall down. The whole Andrew Tate thing, it's endlessly fascinating because you've got this guy who's charged with human trafficking and these horrible crimes, but then you've got this whole other thing where you've got these prominent influencers and media personalities who are supporting him and propping him up. And then even lately, we've seen that it extends all the way to the Trump administration. So it's as soon as you think you've got a handle on what's going on with the Tate story, you realize it just keeps going deeper.
I'm kind of a little bit surprised because I jumped into the whole Andrew Tate thing very early on, and then David did with me as well. For some reason, just hearing now that it was around the time of the Tucker Carlson interview that you jumped in and started analyzing it and exposing him is a little bit surprising to me, because you very quickly captured the essence of what kind of a scumbag this guy is, and you started immediately with Murdered with Crayons to lead the whole case against him. So you took over very quickly.
Yeah, I don't know what it was like. Well, that first video, I don't know what it was. All that footage was readily available. So it's not like at that point I wasn't digging up anything new. I really was someone who was new to it, who was seeing it all for the first time. And that's why I couldn't believe that no one had played that. Like Piers Morgan hadn't aired this footage. And for some reason, that video, it kind of pierced the armor.
I know I know exactly what it is. It's you basically. All this stuff is out there, but it's like scattered around. It's like scattered around, and it's on his videos. And it's always like when we would bring it up, it'd be like, okay, go to minute 23:49 of this video to pull this up. You put it all together into an easy to share package, so that anyone who wants a quick refutation of some tater tot in his DM saying, no, Tate is innocent. Okay, yeah, well, boom, explain this. And it's not, oh, here's this 3-hour video, find this part of it or something like that.
That's the thing, right? I've so many of his supporters will reply like, oh, this is taken out of context, and my reply is always, show me where it's taken out of context. And they always come back saying, oh, I'm not gonna bother to like do that, blah, 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 But they always say like, why don't you show it in its full context? And that's precisely because it's like no one will watch it. No one's going to watch 3 hours, of something to get to a 30-second bit. So you're right. That's why it's packaging in that way that shows it. But yeah, always whenever someone says something's taken out of context, I always say, well, show me where it is, and never in the what is it, 2 years now has anyone ever been able to show I've taken anything out of context, because I don't.
Yeah, and they were just trained. They were just trained by Tate to say that, right? Because he kept going, "Oh, let's take it out of context." Oh, yeah, one little thing I said in 50 years that I've been doing this. One little thing, 50 years, and of course they take it out of context. How would you like it if someone took you out of context? And he was taken out of context. He was taken out of context.
If they do this to me, imagine what they will do to you. Yeah.
But it's also this thing of like where he say, I don't tell them about webcam. And, you can't get them to work for you unless you fuck them and, like, have control over their mind. And it's like, what is the context where that's acceptable? What's the missing context of that, somehow, oh, that was missing. Now I get it. That's fine.
The sort of context you would need to make him not be saying these things would be along these lines. If you want them to listen to you, you have to bang all of them. Is what a pimp would say, and I am not one, right? That would need to be the missing context, but that's not. It's not. It's never ever there. So anyway, but yeah, they've just been trained, and it's a kind of rule. If you have a band of just mindless drones who will just completely repeat any stupid, idiotic thing you say, you can use that, and that's kind of why you and Crayon Murder's really helpful. When you have, over a period of several years, assembled like an army of drones who will carry out whatever order you put out and harass anyone you point them towards and so on, you've just created an environment where you can get away with a lot of stuff, unless someone just says, you know what, I don't care how many of these guys come at me, and I don't care how many big, huge shows you go on to lie. I'm going to keep coming after you no matter what. And that's that dude's kryptonite, right? It's someone who's not going to be overwhelmed by all the trolls and all this.
And that's the thing as well. That's, because continually it is that NPC replies from the cult followers where it's the same thing, oh, he stopped doing this 10 years ago. There's no victims. The victims say that they support Tate. So you keep seeing those same replies over and over again, and that's partly why I then make these videos to then, instead of responding and showing like, here's court documents, here's an article where it's like, no, I got the videos just ready that I can just respond with that. And there's something about videos where that's where Crayons is easily, he's the best, where he can provide that concrete proof with, court documents and evidence and things like that. But that's why, videos, it's just, especially videos of Andrew Tate himself saying these things, it's undeniable. So it makes that impact.
So were you friends already with Crayon Murders, or you guys like became friends by doing this?
No, I never knew him. I didn't even know. I didn't even know about you, Ridvan, or you, David. Like, I didn't even know that there was people that had already been speaking out and exposing Tate. So it wasn't until after that video, and then Andrew Tate directly responded to me. He replied to that video saying that he would do a response video. So then he did a response video to my video, where he then claimed that my viral video was the Matrix, in fact, activating their agents because the MSN attack had failed. So they were activating their agents on the right, and he had to really lay it down like very simply to his followers, saying like, see, not everyone on the left is bad, and not everyone on the right is good. Some people on the right are bad and compromised too. So that's why you're now seeing all these people from Daily Wire and everything now coming after me, because they've been activated by the Matrix.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing where he's the most, searched man on the internet and doesn't understand how a viral video works.
Yeah.
He's like, they were all activated at the same time. That's why the attack's coming.
To stop me from teaching young men how to get Bugattis. That's what the Matrix is obsessed with.
Yeah. So then it was Crayons reached out to me, and so then we made our first. We only made a couple of videos together, but I was new to everything, so he was the one who helped me to understand what was actually going on with the criminal cases, and we did this big breakdown where pretty much we played his response to my video, and we paused every time he told a lie about the case, and then we went into it and showed the receipts of how he was lying and the actual truth of it.
And that,
this is the
oh, go ahead, AP.
This is the funny thing. This is the bad thing. This is what actually upsets me about all of this. You went into all of this at some point long after us. You started talking about it, and you were targeted by him. And you did it quite well. But as you also pointed out, I was talking about this long ago. David was also talking about this. So what really upsets me about this is, why didn't we get lawsuits? Like, why aren't we mentioned in the lawsuits? What is this, man? You're muted, David. David, you're muted.
Matrix attack.
The heck? You think that's gonna stop me, Andrew Tate? You think that Matrix attack is gonna stop me? Yo, Andrew Tate. Yeah, well, for real. Where's our lawsuits, man?
Yeah, what is this, man?
I
want my lawsuit.
You slimy human trafficker.
That was a big one when we put it out about the lawsuit. That was a resounding thing. A lot of people said they had FOMO of like, why am I not included in this? Did I not go hard enough after? And I am surprised, Ridvan. I am surprised that you're not in it.
Because every time Tate would say, "I'm going to sue somebody," you're like, "Oh, here I am," and you would say the thing that he said he's going to sue you for.
You even did the really viral thing after he threatened the rape gang survivor with a lawsuit and made her.
He said anyone who calls us rapists will be sued, and I said Andrew Tate is a rapist, and it had like millions of views and 200,000 likes on Twitter, and still I didn't get sued. There are tiny accounts that are in the lawsuit, and I'm not. What is the
example? Look at the examples of my defamation, and none of them are as bad as that. All of them are pretty weak.
Yeah, yours are just he said this thing, and they're like, "Oh, we're suing him for saying that we said this thing." when you did, you obviously said the same. We got you on video saying the thing.
Yeah, and then Ridvan's like, Andrew Tate is a rapist.
And I'm not getting
Nothing.
sued for that. Like, what? This is ridiculous, man.
Yeah. What's a brother got to do to get sued around here, Tate? You trafficker.
I think that is the interesting thing. So the premise of the lawsuit is that me and 14 other people are part of a conspiracy to defame the Tates.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the premise, which is absurd. Like I work completely alone, and I've done a couple of collaborations with Murder by Crayons, but even still, it's a collaboration, and then I independently edit everything and put it out. Yeah, that's why the people that they put together, it's a real random mixed bag of people. They've thrown in. They've got a lawyer representing 4 of the UK alleged victims that are in the civil case. They've got someone who's a vice director. I think that's her position at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, and they're representing the American alleged victim, who the Tates are suing. She was just at the White House, by the way, because the White House had that organization there because of how great a job they've done at combating sexual exploitation. And then there's a whole mixed bag. There's Misfit Patriot, who's a MAGA influencer, who's only been going.
He's the other one. He's the other one I was familiar with, just because I've seen him over the past several months.
Yeah, he's only been going hard for the past couple of months. He's brand new to calling out Tate, and then there's a bunch of anonymous accounts, and there's me and Gadget and Murder by Crowns, who was anonymous as well. So it is interesting. That's where I think they've had to have this premise that it's a conspiracy, because they want to bundle all of us together. But I think there's a select few that are our primary targets that they're going after, and the whole nature of the lawsuit is, I think there's only one person who actually resides in Florida, and they need to lodge it in Florida because Florida's kind of wacky. You can't get away with these kind of lawsuits in a lot of places. So they've needed to ground it there. So that's how they bundled it all together with us as part of this conspiracy. So, but yeah, you look at it, it's random. It's like, why are there anonymous accounts with next to no followers that are part of this?
Yeah, and so
why am I not part of it?
And why are you not? Yeah, why are you not part of it? Yeah.
So you're saying, I've got the lawsuit, but it's like 14 or 15 people on there. You're saying that there are people on there who are from like 3 different continents. Some of them known, some of them completely unknown. And that, like, the theory is that you guys are conspiring against him?
Yeah, that's the theory. And I think probably most of those people have
found the Matrix.
Never even spoken to the other people.
We have located the Matrix, everyone. We're bringing down the entire Matrix in one fell swoop.
That's the other funny thing is that of course there is no conspiracy. From time to time, some of us have bounced off some information together, because
so there is a conspiracy.
Well, from time to time, I think it's like any citizen journalist or anything. I don't think when you are in contact with someone and say, hey, look at this document, this is what you were looking for that confirms this, I wouldn't call that a conspiracy necessarily.
Sounds like a conspiracy to me.
Or on October 17th, did you or did you not like this comment by this person? Well, I guess I did, because it's in the I rest my airtight case, Your Honor.
I think most of us most of those people haven't spoken to those other people. But yeah, it spreads across several continents. It is this random mixed bag of like, oh, that's interesting that person's in there. Yeah, I think primarily they've been coming after Murder by Crayons. He's the one who's been doing the most damage in exposing the reality of their criminal cases.
Yeah. He's a dangerous person.
And because he's anonymous and he's done it so successfully now, he's got almost 100,000 followers. He's the one that they want to expose and dox, in hope that he'll be harassed and intimidated hard enough that he'll stop what he's doing.
Yeah, because as far as the different the different kinds of dangers different people are to the Tate empire, some of the victims, you can see why he's worried about them and wants to silence them. They can actually, destroy this idea that, no, the women are all on my side, so they're a big threat to that. But the other major obstacle to these guys is just exposing all their lies. And so the two things that were most helpful there is just like condensing some of the content down into, look, here's a 6-minute video what a scumbag this guy is. Go ahead and defend this, that sort of thing. But also every time he goes on some show and puts out some lie, and it's lie, and see, people like me and AP, we're watching the lies, right? And we're going, wait, I remember he said something that's the opposite of that. Wait a minute, I remember he said something the opposite of that. But you guys actually put him out there as nice little videos. Okay, here's the lie. Here's him refuting his own lie. Here's him. It's not us refuting the lie. It's him refuting his own lie in his own words. And that just becomes very easy to share. And if you're a compulsive liar, that's just your worst nightmare. That you're a compulsive liar. You can't stop. You're just going to keep lying and stuff like that. Someone actually sitting there going, "Oh, that's a lie. I can prove it. Oh, that's a lie. I can prove it." It's you don't even know how to communicate anymore. You don't even know how to open your mouth.
That is the thing. It's, he has his go-to lies where he spins the narrative, and I believe he coordinates with Tristan and these other influencers, and so they push out this propaganda. And like I said, you see that pop up over and over again. These go-to lies that they've found that they feel works, and that's why if you can combat that successfully, then every time someone watches an interview and he goes to that go-to lie, immediately you see him lying. And then immediately it's, he loses his ability to do that, and he has to then pivot. And yeah, I think that's the thing. That's what's been powerful with the videos. It was encouraging to see Megyn Kelly just recently play one of the videos. Because I think that is the thing. From when I came onto the scene to now, they completely lost control of the narrative. Yeah, the people who were defending them.
It was hard back then. It was hard when they were getting. It was hard to respond to them when getting started because so many people were on their side and so few people were actually exposing them. That you say something like tons of people were against them. Tons of people were like, "Oh, this guy's bad," but not in the sense of like actually refuting what he's saying. And so back then you bring up something, you could bring up something and you just get bombarded by all these, Tate is the greatest thing in the world. You're part of the Matrix.
Yeah. But also you had more people with massive followings that were more moderate, and they were posting support for him. Whereas you don't have that now. The people with big followings that are still supporting them, they're scumbags at this point. They're people who are firmly in their camp, and either it's because they're scumbags or somehow they're involved personally or professionally,
like Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah, and it's been interesting to see that evolution from people defending Tate, saying, "Oh, okay, he did some stuff in his past, but I feel like he's a good influence to young men and he's speaking out against the right people," to saying, "Okay, do you know what? I think he might be a bad dude, but I think he's probably innocent about what he's been charged with," to now people being like, "No, I think he's a scumbag, and I think he's guilty." But that's why it was good seeing Megyn Kelly. She played one of my clips, and it was a compilation where he's speaking about just beating women, and she said, "I don't care if he's innocent or guilty. I think he's human excrement." And I think that's the right position to take. I think that is the right position of. You don't need a court to tell you whether this guy is a good guy or not. You can see it with your own eyes. It's very, very clear. And if you can't, then that says something about you.
Yeah, and it seems like what happens in that what you guys have been doing in that where someone like Megyn Kelly comes in really helpful. Is if you have a guy who is a compulsive liar and he'll lie, and then he has tons and tons of fans who will act as a megaphone for those lies. So he tells a lie and they all just spread it. And the idea is, well, we can spread our lies faster than you can ever correct them. As long as it's one or two people just exposing the lies and not getting much attention, the guy with the tons of drone followers is going to win that one. He'll just be able to drown out everything. And so if you were to go online and start looking this up, well, you've got tons of people saying Andrew Tate is a saint, and then a couple of accounts saying no, actually he's a scumbag. Well, unless you seriously do some investigating, you're just looking at the overall impression. And yeah, all these guys are saying he's innocent and that all the victims are on his side, and this is just a big matrix attack and so on. So you don't know what to believe, but you're like, okay, it's at least debatable on whether this guy is good or bad. So I can't exactly condemn him. Then you see him on Candace Owens and all these other shows, and they solved all this. It's like, unless you're really, really, really going through clips and so on, you'd get the impression, this guy's been exonerated. Tucker, Megan, they all think this guy's a really, really wonderful guy. So obviously, since I trust them, but it's like it takes longer, especially if it's just a couple of you guys working and going through the clips and stuff. It takes longer to expose the lies when you're up against that. But it's like things reach a certain threshold where the lie no longer works. It's like the lie works because there's not enough people exposing it. All of a sudden it reaches a certain critical mass, and now you can't tell the lie without there being someone there who refutes it and says, wrong, here's the video, boom, in your face.
Yeah, honestly, that saying a lie gets halfway around the truth, halfway around the planet. Well, yeah, before the truth can put its pants on. Mm-hmm. It's been digging into the Tates for the past couple of years that I've truly understand what that actually means, and how very real that is. And I think that is Andrew Tate's genius, if he has one. I think Andrew Tate is a complete moron.
We can prove that.
You have to be.
We're about to prove that.
You'd have to be to confess to your crimes for years. But at the same time, I think his genius comes in that ability to play the media and to create PR spin. I think that's what he's very, very good at. And that's how he became prominent, through TikTok and understanding how to manipulate these mediums. And so that's what he does very, very well. He can anticipate a story is coming. He knows it's coming because he has inside information, because he is the story. And so what he does is, when he realizes that new charges are about to drop or a new revelation is about to come, he'll quickly get ahead of that, and then he'll spin it to his advantage. Mm-hmm. So he'll somehow just, tweak it a little bit, or he'll blatantly lie. Either way, it doesn't matter. And then he'll push that out there. And like you said, he has this kind of massive network of influencers and like propaganda satellites that are able to just amplify that. And that gets out ahead of what the actual story is. And so that's why he's then able to spin it. With the UK criminal charges that dropped, which he's now going to be extradited for, he saw that coming. And so what he did was he conflated these new criminal charges with the civil case that he has in the UK with these 4 alleged victims. And so he then bundled them together and say, these are old charges, that's to do with this. But the truth was, no, these are completely new charges, new alleged victims. And this is very serious and a very big problem for him. But by conflating it, he then downplayed it and said, we've already covered this, blah, blah, they're just dragging up all these old new things because the things they've tried to be doing with me hasn't been effective. And it worked. It works so well that even mainstream media like BBC reports that as the truth. He's brilliant at that. He does that over and over again.
Yeah, and I can break down for everyone out there, because it's something everyone needs to become aware of, how something like this happens. So little Tate is born, and his dad was actually diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. That has a genetic component that's connected to various Put it this way: if you have a personality disorder, you have a kid. That kid is significantly more likely to have a personality disorder. And so you look at Andrew and Tristan. Andrew is a narcissist. He has all the requirements of a narcissist. Tristan has, as far as I can tell, meets the requirements of a psychopath.
Antisocial.
But yeah, both of those guys, when they're growing up, I could go ahead and tell everyone, when you're growing up, your goal is to get everyone doing what you want because you think you're the center of the universe. You want the entire world revolving around you. And the key feature of a manipulator, everyone, is that the goal of a manipulator is just, here's what I want in life. The best way to get what I want in life is to make other people do it for me. That's what a manipulator does. And he gets everyone else to do the stuff and give it to him and do what he wants. And then that's how you get everything. You want lots of money? Great. Get other people to do it for you, to work for you and to give it to you and stuff like that. That's how you go about things. And that would be different from like an ordinary businessman, so on, where you make a business because you want a business and so on. A manipulator's doing it, and that he's doing it, and it can be harming other people, and he doesn't care if he's harming other people to get what he wants and so on. But here's the thing. I guarantee you, as little Andrew Tate was messing around the schoolyard and stuff, he's constantly learning. Everything is trial and error. Let me try this. Oh, that didn't work. Try something else. Oh, let me try this. Oh, this worked. Huh. This and he's making a mental checklist of everything that works in getting other people to do what you want. And that continues all through school, so that by the time he finishes school or whatever, he's pretty good at getting some other people to do what he wants. Eventually, he wants his girlfriends in different parts of the world to do cam work for him. He can use the skills that he developed as he was growing up to get these girls to do what he wants and do his webcam stuff. Then he uses those same skills to pretend to be the cam girls and messaging these dudes and, hey, send me lots of money. Ooh, I'm a cute cam girl. I'm a cute cam girl. It's actually Andrew Tate sending those messages. So he manipulates these guys into mortgaging their houses and stuff like that to send money to what he thinks is a cam girl, but it's actually Andrew Tate. So Andrew Tate's telling guys, oh, I love you so much. Oh, I love your balls, all this stuff. And it's actually Andrew Tate. The guy thinks it's a pretty girl talking to him. So anyway, he learns to manipulate these guys. And then, oh, hey, there's actually a huge community out there, and I can give them my secrets and have them all sending me piles of money and stuff. So then he does that. And then once he finds out that what he's been doing is illegal, because he's a moron when it comes to the law and so on, once he finds out that his stuff is illegal and he's going to be investigated, then, I can transform myself into a self-help guru. What do all these young men out there want to hear? Okay, let me tell them all that. And then, wow, he's telling me exactly what I needed to hear. Yeah, he's a professional manipulator who knows how to tell you exactly what you want to hear. Yeah. And that's what he does. And so here we are. But here's the thing. Nathan, me and AP have talked about this in the past, but I pointed it out that as manipulators are manipulating their followers are conditioning them in return as far as here's what you can get away with. Here's what you can get away with. Like if you find, because again, you're always, here's what I tried and it works, or here's what I tried and it doesn't work. They're letting you know what works. And so they're programming you because now you're programmed, this is what works. Well, guess what? What works with your little group isn't necessarily what would work with people who aren't in your group. So you're just focused on you're in basically a bubble of your followers and they're telling you what works. And, oh, I can just lie all day long to these guys. They're stupid. They're stupid. They're stupid. They're stupid. They're stupid. And then all of a sudden outsiders looking and going, whoa, you guys are falling for that? What are you, stupid? But you've been conditioned for so long because this goes back to when you were a little kid. You don't know any other way of doing things at this point. And it's just so you just keep trying the same things over and over and over again, even if they're not working anymore. Yeah. You just kind of dial them up more and more. I have to try harder. I have to do this more. I have to lie more. And then, of course, the lawsuits. But that's all part of like just silencing critics and so on. It's something he's learned over time. You silence your critics by threatening and intimidating them. So he learned that as growing up as well. And now he's using that. So he's using the same bundle of tricks that he probably learned when he was like 8 or 9 and just, fine-tuned over the years. But that's how we get down to Andrew Tate.
But you're absolutely right. Because I think that thing that next step after him becoming this kind of guru was then trying to become a mainstream influence, and that's why you saw that pivot as he went on to Piers Morgan, and then even with Candace Owens, him trying to depict himself as, hey, I'm just like Jay-Z. You know, you'd be like me if you grew up, you know, in the community flats in Luton. You know, I'm no different, but I'm reformed now. You know, look at me. I'm a good influence. I'm a good Muslim man who's now, you know, God-fearing, and you know, I'm a good force in the world. And yeah, okay, I used to have this webcam business like 40 years ago, but you know, that's completely in my past. And that's why you've seen that fragmentation. And you're completely right, because what works for his followers is that idea, that top G swag, like, look at me banging all these hot chicks. I've got, you know, I got my Bugatti, and you know, it's that thing that he feeds into like his incel audience, for them to feel good about being complete fucking losers. They can then blame women and blame society, but at the same time, he's trying to go legitimate, and so those two things don't actually, they're not really compatible. So that's why you've seen him fail now with these criminal cases and charges come. That now he had to try and straddle both things. And that's why you see his Twitter become very schizophrenic, because he's trying to be legitimate, but then he'll post this really incel type shit, because that's actually what gets engagement. People don't actually want a legitimate reformed Andrew Tate, because it's bullshit for one.
It's boring.
But also, it's you know, he is a compulsive liar and he's a chameleon. But underneath that all, there is an Andrew Tate that is there who does believe things, and those things are that women are his property and subservient to him, and that he is power hungry, and will use anything to his advantage, and that he does despise weakness. And yeah, that's the fascinating thing, is that, you know, you saw the Trump administration get involved in the Romanian prosecution to lift the restrictions, and he couldn't last like 2 weeks without allegedly choking and sexually assaulting a woman. You know, he's meant to be there. He's there because the Trump administration have pretty much pulled strings, and yet he cannot suppress his sadism
He
enough.
can't control himself. He depends on it just as well. He can't control himself.
And that's where like that legitimate idea that Tate was attempting to get to, I think that's also a prison for him, because there's no way that he can live a conventional life where, you know, even as according to Bree Stern, that girl says in her lawsuit, she says like he cannot get off sexually without degrading women. Yeah, you know, and so that's the thing. It's like that will inevitably always come out.
And I have to, you know, you have to wonder, like, what kind of man? Because again, this is his ex saying this, that she didn't think he could really get aroused unless he was abusing and degrading women. And you wonder why. What's going on in that head of his? And what, you know, my theory is that since he was a fighter, he was probably in these, you know, in the ring with these sweaty dudes, and he's getting aroused in the ring fighting these sweaty dudes. And then he gets in, there's just a woman sitting there, and he has to like picture that she's a guy and he's fighting her, right? And, oh, I'm fighting her. It's one of these sweaty guys. It's one of these guys I was fighting with. And that gets him aroused, and that allows him to, to carry on his sexual activities and so on. So that's my theory, Andrew Tate. Put it in a lawsuit. You giant trafficker.
You see that from early on. He's kind of opened the window into what his childhood was like and what his father drilled into him when it comes to the attitude towards women.
Not in the way that...
Yeah.
Well, who knows? But yeah, that's where it's like, even from an early age, you know, he even says that he was a little kid, and he brought like a girl over to his home who was just like a friend, just like on a kind of play date thing, and his father made him feel ashamed about that, you know, saying that boys shouldn't be friends with girls, you know, and that's where it's like, that's where I really do believe that he deeply hates women, and so that's why I partly think when he's having sex with them, I think he has this conflict of shame, and it's all just his wires are completely crossed. But yeah, it is strange to think, and that's where it is new. This idea of Andrew Tate as an influencer who's been platformed by some of the biggest people out there with the largest followers. You are potentially looking at someone who was a serial rapist and prominent sex trafficker, and they've been embraced by mainstream figures. And that's where it's like that wasn't just a character that he was playing as like the king of the incels. Like he literally was that. And that's a terrifying thing to grapple with, to think of them, of them, embracing this person who's that destructive, and pushing them on their massive audiences.
And in fact, if Andrew Tate actually did ever want to change his reputation for people like us who are actually familiar with what he did, and we're not just going to mindlessly go along with any idiotic explanation he comes up with. Like, the real explanation here is, guys, I was raised by a narcissist who had a really screwed up view of women. Narcissists, especially if they're dealing with little kids, are really good at programming. They're good at programming people in general, but especially their little kids who are around them and so on. They can program them to think in exactly the way they want and to have any view they want and so on. That's how we're raised. And not only were we raised that way, we both inherit the genetics of this guy. And so I was basically born screwed up, and then it was a combination of nature and nurture, how screwed up I am. And that's why I've done this screwed up stuff, and I'm recognizing that now. And you know what? I'm pulling out of the limelight. I'm going to go do my time in prison. I'm going to confess to everything I did and hope that I can change. It would have to be something huge like that to take anything he says seriously. And for all you Tate fans out there, if you actually are at all concerned for Tate, and not just like your fantasy about Tate, the best thing that could happen to him in this world is he gets completely exposed for everything, that he learns that none of his manipulation tactics work anymore, and he is just broken and realizes he has to just start over from the ground up with new ways of doing things. That is, it's understood. You don't try to convince a manipulator. You don't try to convince a manipulator that what he's doing is wrong. It doesn't work. You have to show a manipulator that his methods no longer work. That's the only thing that'll get him to stop using a manipulation tactic and so on.
But that's where it's like, I don't think you can. If you're dealing with a true psychopath, they just don't have that in them. That ability, that self-awareness, that ability to actually, introspectively look at what they're doing and understand it's wrong and attempt to reform. That's not what they do. They just do not have that in them. And
Yeah.
I
don't
mean,
know if
that
any
is the
psychopath can change. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's really fascinating, actually. I came across him and Tristan where they were doing one of the interviews where they were announcing that they were teaching how to do their webcam course. And they start by saying, why are we so close as brothers? Like, this is unusual, right? There's brothers that are close, but like, why are we so close? Why are we inseparable? And like everything we do, it's side by side, and they say it's because their father had such a strong personality, and was so domineering that he implanted that onto them. And that really does say a lot. And
remind me,
I really do believe that Tristan Tate, I'm not saying he's not as bad as Andrew Tate, but I'm saying, imagine if you not only had Andrew Tate's father as your father, but you also had Andrew Tate as your older brother.
As far as I remember, didn't Andrew Tate tell a story which was like that if they got in trouble somehow, their father would do this thing,
Make them sit at the table.
Make them sit for hours and be quiet, and if they make a single sound, they get
The clock starts over again.
Or,
he would say something like, "Okay, you guys got into a fight. You have to sit at the tables looking at each other for 2 hours. Anytime I hear you make a sound, the clock starts over again and stuff." So they learn like that. But what's interesting, I think it's like, because here's the idea: a narcissist and a psychopath, in theory, should not work well together. they both want everything for themselves. And so it just seems that like these guys started off so young under their father's leadership that all their manipulation so on became like entwined, like they're kind of like part of each, they're both part of the entire scheme. And the dynamic is actually interesting because again, as Tristan is the Andrew's the older brother, but also, the narcissist is more obsessed with getting all the attention. And so that's kind of perfect for him. The psychopath views people as, everyone's just useful in terms of what they can give, which is that kind of overlaps with the narcissist, but it's more central. And so someone like Tristan would, as a psychopath, could even be, okay, I'm cool with him getting most of the attention because he's more of the lightning rod, right? He's more of the lightning rod. He'll catch more of the stuff than I will if it ever goes down and so on. So anyway, it actually all makes sense, but. Again,
no, I mean the last bit of armchair psychology that I find interesting in the kind of puzzle of like how do you get an Andrew Tate is, I think he gets his attitude towards women from his father, but his father was a brokey, like he was a complete loser. He had nothing, so they grew up completely poor. So as much as he speaks about idolizing his father, which I think there's maybe elements to that, I think he also has deep contempt for his father as being a failure who couldn't actually provide for them materially. And I think that's why you then see this, projection of him saying, I'm a trillionaire, I'm the richest man in the world, and this image with, with everything. They didn't even go to their father's funeral. So that's where they speak, dearly about their father, but I wonder how much is actually there. I think maybe there is also deep contempt for him.
David, what do you think about psychopaths?
What?
What do you think about psychopaths?
AP was grinning while you were saying that, Nathan, because I'm a diagnosed psychopath.
Tell him.
I'm a psychopath who became a Christian in jail. And so I don't have normal feelings about, like, I have no remorse for anything I've ever done in the sense of feeling bad about it. I just changed because it's along the lines of, okay, Jesus makes the rules, so I'm going to go ahead and do what he says. But it's never, I basically do everything out of obedience to someone of a higher authority than I am. That's like I have to replace things that normal people have. Like normal people feel guilt when they do something wrong. I don't. So I have like a second order guilt where I don't feel bad for this messed up thing that I just did. So I have to recognize that because I don't feel bad about this, I'm defective. I'm screwed up. And it's not that I have, because basically if you're a psychopath and you're growing up, you think that you have some extra ability that other people don't have. You've got this ability to be beyond all this stuff. And so you're like Superman. You have to come to recognize that as actually, no, I don't have some ability that other people lack. I lack an ability that other people have. So I'm defective. So then if you want to, every time you're not having the normal reaction that someone should have, like I don't feel guilt in this situation over what I just did, you have to actually zero in on, I don't feel guilty because I'm screwed up and defective. And that's not, that's not a good feeling if you regard yourself as messed up and defective. But it's kind of like a second order guilt. You don't have the whatever normal people feel when they feel guilt. I don't experience that. So I have to come up with something else to replace it. And gosh, I'm screwed up. Look how I don't feel anything.
That's why you're speaking about like Andrew Tate's redemption arc, because you're projecting.
It's exactly. Now, keep in mind, I don't think it's going to happen. I think very, very small chance. But when I was talking to his fans, I was dead serious because I'm saying I had to be completely broken. Someone who every little trick I had, every manipulation tactic I had, all didn't work, and you're just broken. And it's like, okay, this is where this all got me. This is where me doing things my way has gotten me. It all failed. And what do I do now? What do I do now to change this whole thing? That's what I'm saying. As long as there is hope of your system of doing things, your bag of tricks working, you're going to keep doing that. You're just going to keep dialing up more and more. Oh, more lawsuits, more this, more that, more harassing people, more insulting people, you're more lies. You're just going to keep doing that until like it has all failed. Everyone, you've been completely exposed, and you're just sitting in a jail cell going, It didn't work. None of it worked, and that is like
No,
that is
yeah, I know,
that's his only even hope of redemption. So anyone who actually is concerned at all about those guys, I'm talking to you as fans, because most of the rest of it, most people are like, let this guy rot in prison. If he is actually your hero and you have any concern, you should want him to be absolutely broken by all this. This is the only way he comes out of this a changed person at all in any way.
Yeah, and that's why yeah, prison is the best thing for him and the world. You know, in that sense of it shouldn't take a guilty verdict to be able to prove who he is. I think for most completely normal people, they can already see what's out there and determine without a doubt who he is. But that's why just that concrete proof, like, look, here he is guilty. It's all been weighed up. There you go. Is what's needed, because there needs to be no doubt removed whatsoever. And like you're saying, that's what his followers need, because his followers, it is like a cult. So, you know, most people do not give a fuck about Andrew Tate's followers, you know, and that's fine. I completely get that. But at the same time, it could be dangerous with a bunch of these Andrew Tate followers, what they do, you know, if eventually when it gets to that place where they no longer have their leader, I'm not sure, you know, I mean.
Well, I mean, I think he's legitimately screwing up people's lives by imprinting his own screwed up psychology on his followers. Like he'll say something like never trust a woman. And I'll say, you know what? The person I trust most on this planet is my wife. And all his fans think oh, you idiot. Oh, you just, blah, blah, blah. And they start saying things. Oh, is she going to let you feel her boob now? Like, I'm just saying this to get in good with my wife and stuff. And like, it's no, this is the woman who carried my children in her womb. This is the person who has been taking care of my children, for their entire lives. This is the woman who knew me before anyone else did, before I was a YouTuber or anything else. This is the woman who's been through everything with me. She's seen me at my best. She's seen me at my worst. And after more than 2 decades, she's still with me. Okay, this is the person I trust most in this world. And they lose their minds when you say something like that. And it's like, these are guys who are like, he's destroying their ability to have anything remotely resembling a healthy relationship with women ever. It's like you're destroying these guys' futures. You're destroying their ability to have a functioning good family and so on, screwing people up this bad. So he's actually doing massive damage, and that's why this guy needs to come crashing.
Yeah, that is a crazy thing. Like you saw the media and many people framing Jordan Peterson as Andrew Tate before Andrew Tate. You know, they were saying that he's this king of the incels, and that he's, you know, personifies like toxic masculinity. But when you actually listen to what Jordan Peterson was saying, it was the complete opposite. It was entirely this thing of like, you know, if women aren't talking to you, there's something wrong with you, you know, and you should address that. You should figure out what that is. The problem isn't with women. The problem's with you. And so you need to get your shit in order to make yourself an actual valuable, meaningful person that has worth, that will then, you know, mean that women will want to talk to you and will want to actually be with you and spend their lives with you, you know. And that's complete opposite of what Andrew Tate teaches. Yeah. And that's why now you've seen these people. You're now seeing examples of people who have literally gone out and murdered women who have consumed Andrew Tate content. As far as I'm aware, that never happened with Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, not a lot of people going out killing girls over Peterson's stuff.
I don't think so.
Let's go ahead now. So you were talking about Andrew Tate actually being kind of an idiot and self-snitching king of the world. And so Nathan, I'm actually an ex-con, so I can give expert testimony on how self-snitches would be viewed in prison. But let's go ahead and check out this one video, because this ties into what we were both saying, because you're pointing out this guy's actually a dope smart in certain ways and a dope in other ways. I'm tying this into, if you live in this bubble of your followers for all these years and they actually convince you over time, you're programming them, but they're programming you in return as to what works and what you can get away with. And hey, you can just blurt this stuff out. You can just blurt this stuff out and get away with it until you can't, and then you can't figure out what to do. But anyway, here's here's Andrew Tate self-snitching.
I was all about trying to get paid. Like I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house to make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense.
Your goal is to inspire a girl to make money and give you the money. So the way you're going to do that is you have to have some element of influence.
In the pimp game, you need to learn how to control her and retain her. You need to make her do as you say, and you have to keep her. Yeah. You have to keep her regardless, in spite of the fact that you cheat, you're busy, you take all her money, you make her do something she doesn't want to do, and she still has to stay with you. And I became a multi-millionaire. I did this by creating a webcam studio, by taking girls who didn't know how to be effective on webcam, girls who had never done webcam before, girls who didn't have the equipment, didn't have the know-how, didn't have the will, didn't have the premises, didn't have the ability to make money with this exchange.
Andrew, I'd like to explain something to you called lighting. Anyway, I'll let that slide.
I created a system that allowed me to...
What's that?
A microphone.
Yeah.
convince girls to do this.
Yeah, here he is, a multi-trillionaire, and he's using his computer, his whatever mic is built into his computer, and I don't know what he's using. I think he's using a flip phone to record.
To retain 100% control of their income. I know how to make sure the girl can't run away, because once you teach a girl how to do this, she has the ability to make unlimited money from home. Why would she still give it to you? Why does she just run off and keep it all for herself?
Her believing she needs you. And this is extremely important. Because at the beginning, she will need you. But then she won't need you. But you have to keep that fallacy, keep that dream alive that she can't do this without you, to ensure that she doesn't do it without you.
How can she leave you if you start making loads of money and the girl thinks, well, I want to leave and do this by myself, but you have the Twitter, you have the Instagram, you have the account on your phone, she can't do nothing. All she can do as you say.
Be in charge of her own phone contact with members who like her. You are setting yourself up to get scammed. And that has happened to me before. I went to the room, smashed the room up, told her I knew what she did. She sent me all the money, but that has happened to me before.
If you're not fucking the girl, she is fucking someone else. And that other person she's fucking is going to have the control over her mind, as opposed to you.
If she has a really strong social circle and she really insists on seeing them, they're going to have a big influence over her. And it is in your best interest to get her away from that social circle. All these things tie into isolating her and taking her away from the outside influences. Every outside influence is trending. All of them.
How many of them worked for us and didn't sleep with one of us?
One.
Is there one? Who's that one?
The girl from Lithuania. She sucked your dick.
Yeah, she escaped, I guess.
I have to fuck her so she obeys me. I don't give a shit about having sex with beautiful women. I fuck them so they listen to me. So I can get what I actually want, which is not them. It's a means to an end. Every single Bond girl was...
Means to an end. Means to an end. Women are means to an end.
Exploited. That's exactly what I do. When I watch a Bond film and I see him basically pimp a bitch, to me that speaks to my heart. I've been there. I've done that.
I'd have sex with women to get their money. Yeah. I didn't want to have sex with them. I was trying to get the money.
How do I use these women to make money? Jesus.
Because that's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me. And that's how I got rich.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what you just saw there was Andrew Tate in his own course where he's training people to use his method, and various interviews where he's telling people, and presentations he's actually giving where he's laying out every step of the way how he gets a woman to fall in love with him and then uses her love for him to get her to doing sex work for him, and he, over time, blocks any way out for them, makes sure he has complete control over them so that they have to keep giving him all their money while he just uses them. And he's got this entire thing laid out. One problem with that, that's called sex trafficking. That's
I'm
the lover
genuinely
boy.
interested.
That's the lover boy method of sex trafficking and of pimping. And apparently, while he's bragging about this all these years, he didn't know this is like the textbook definition of the lover boy method of sex trafficking. He eventually found out, and that's when he's, oh, actually, I'm just a self-help guru, and everyone's against me as a part of the Matrix.
Yeah, you answered my question. I was going to ask, do you think he was aware that he was breaking the law? Yeah, and that's my feelings as well. I don't think he even takes the law into account with what he's doing. I think that's something he thinks about later, but he's pretty open about that. So what you said, I don't think he was aware at all that what he was, allegedly doing and confessing to was human trafficking. And that's it's why it's important, as we've already said. Andrew Tate is a compulsive liar, so you can't ever take what Andrew Tate says as truth. And that's why it's important to not only see these videos, but also to see that there are verified chats, there's bank transfers, there's victim statements, there's witness statements, there's medical reports, there's a mountain of evidence that backs up what he's saying he actually did. And did for years, and did even worse as well.
Mm-hmm. And so we'll take a couple of super chats, guys, and then we will jump into Tate basically declaring that when people are trying to expose him, he'll throw all these frivolous lawsuits at them, just to kind of another way of wearing them down and getting them to not want to criticize him. So we'll talk about him explaining how he uses frivolous lawsuits, and then we'll take a look at his latest frivolous lawsuit against our guest, MilkBarTV, Nathan Livingston. We'll take a couple of these real quick. You're late. You're late. Don't you dare start while I get a blanket. Too late. Celeria says, I suppose I ought to get this out of the way. Hooray, I finally managed to finish both recording and editing my second video related to Surah 5. That's nice. 2 on Surah 5. Let me find the second Celeria message here. Not dealing with the Islamic dilemma this time. It's about Islam contradicting but endorsing scripture. Rather that Bukhari and Tabari essentially guarantee Muhammad is a false prophet if you accept them. Very rude, very Islamophobic language, Hilaria. Yeah. Bring your Islamophobia somewhere else. We're talking about Andrew Tate. MilkBarTV, welcome. There's going to be a lot of super chats about Mubahala leather straps. You see, that's what they do, and AP's hair/beard. Just so you know, there is an odd little community here that they have kind of their own language that they get from AP. Rest in peace, Mouse Allah, after 19 months of prison dawah. That's good. AP equals Apologetics Pod Show. What's happening? Hey, yeah, AP, you could have the Apostate podcast and still go with AP. What's happening? Yeah. Oh, hey, new guy. Lemon character. Oh, that's a super sticker. Thank you, Ida. Let's see. Tate wasn't lying when he said he was not being a filthy pimp of a human. He was just practicing religiously justified taqiyya. Stop persecuting him. That is good. We'll try to do better next time. I don't recognize AP without a disguise. Yeah, AP's been wearing so many wigs and stuff, we don't even know who the real AP is anymore. Nice color on your books, AP. Looks like a flag. Nice. Tate's comments are taken out of context. You would understand if you listened to his interviews in Arabic, you see. Good point. Context is king. Candace Owens. Yeah, you gotta have the context. Andrew Tate is a queen. Bow Rudder. There you go. Yep, you can go ahead. Hey, Tate, there's another one for your to-sue list. Andrew Tate is a queen. But in actuality, I'm not a queen. I've never been officially designated the queen of any country. Andrew Tater, I'm calling you out. Where's my lawsuit, Tate? I've challenged you to Mubahala and a Muwingala. See, we knew Mubahala would come up. Bring the good, Dr. Wood. That's what we do. Do you think Tate has visited the men of Al-Zut? It's possible. Since Al-Zut may come up, Nathan, I'll just go ahead and tell you what that is. There's this weird hadith. We don't know what it means, but there's this weird hadith that's about Muhammad. He goes out into the desert and he brings one of his companions with him, and he says, no matter what happens, stay behind this line. You're safe behind this line, but you're not safe on this side of the line. And he goes over there, and it says these dark-skinned men of Al-Zut rode him all night long. And he came back in pain and fell asleep. And no one knows what this means. They say it's like spirit beings. Anyway, it's a really creepy passage. But yeah, that's what people are talking about when they talk about Al-Zut. It's these guys who somehow mounted Muhammad all night long, and we don't know what that means, but it's weird and creepy.
Probably nothing bad.
Yeah. The Matrix got him. PhD course, no more. Tater Tots won't be getting happy ending no more. Yep. No more PhD course. Context is king. Polonius from Hamlet. Yep. Context is king. We have, hello, fellow image bearers of God. Hello, apostate of Allah. She's an ex-Muslim. Boys, you are savage, unapologetic, and absolutely spot on. Love it. Our beautiful guys. That's what we do. What if a psychopath or narcissist watched this? How would it make them feel? Imagine how hurt they'd be. Have some empathy. Walk a mile in their shoes. That's actually an imitation of some guy who, every time we're mean about anything, posts a message. Imagine how someone would feel if they saw this. And super sticker from Moo Joe. Arctic Base says, AP and D-Wood, don't worry, you're both great and beautiful. Cam girls. Really?
Oh, thank you.
Hey, D-Wood, have you ever seen the movie American Psycho? Did you relate to the main character? Is it an accurate depiction of a psychopath?
Good question.
Yes, and yes, and yes, just so you know. Hey, D-Wood, do you think Andrew over-exaggerates about his dad as the compulsive liar he is? I'm sure he exaggerates or even makes up certain things, but overall, I think he does take his dad as like an ideal in certain ways. And that his dad did have a massive impact on him, both nature-wise and nurture-wise.
His dad had a Facebook account up to right till his death, which wasn't that long ago, and so he was posting on Facebook about the Me Too movement. So try and track down some of these posts, and yeah, you can see where Andrew Tate directly got his shtick from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's funny because eventually, because his dad had an account on Twitter too, which even long after his death was still on Twitter. And I remember finding some of his tweets, and it's like, oh, these are the exact same things Andrew uses as like his taglines and stuff like that. He just got all this stuff from his dad.
Yeah.
David trusting his wife is gay. It is very straight to catfish men. That's true. In order for sanctification to begin, one must empty oneself out and acknowledge one's carnality leads one to error and suffering. One must be humbled before one can even reach the starting line. That's what. Yeah, guys, I'm completely serious about things are almost completely hopeless for that guy. Almost. And I say almost just because there is a scenario where he will at least have a chance, but that involves him being absolutely just broken and crushed. D-Wood, if your wife kept it a secret from you for over 20 years that she is a wingette, would you remain with her? No, that would be just cause for divorce. Those are followers of my arch rival and nemesis. And yet there are so many young guys who hang on to their every word. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, absolutely insane and dangerous. And it's actually screwing up these young guys. If you're 14, 15, 16, being fed a steady diet of Tate's insane views, all of a sudden you get to your 20s when, that's when you might be wanting to get married and stuff. And your ability to have a normal, healthy relationship with a woman has already been destroyed. Now, here's what sucks. There are women in this world who are attracted to abusive guys. And so you become an abusive guy and you get some of these women who, because their fathers were that way or something like that, they think that's what a real man is and stuff. That's part of Tate's test. He's looking for these girls. You're looking for these girls that you control through abuse and so on. You get that mentality. Guess what? You can find girls like that. It's just you're always going to have endless screwed up relationships, and things are bad for them and bad for you. And Tate's pushing young guys into becoming that. and it sucks. Oh, wait, hang on. Better human being, Tate or Winger? Tate. And here I thought this was a Christian channel, and all they talk about is Bugattis and golden showers. You don't know about the golden showers. We had Muhammad Hijab in here one day, and he just started sending us endless messages about golden showers. And we're like, what is this dude into? This is some creepy, creepy stuff. I hear you say words, but what color is your Bugatti? That's a good point. None of us have Bugattis here. Mikey No More made a 3-hour-long video on Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes.
Who? Mikey No More?
Mikey No More. You heard of that guy? I think I've seen that before, but I can't picture anyone, so I don't think I've ever watched anything.
Doesn't ring anything.
We might want to check it out. Do you identify with Anton Chigurh from the movie No Country for Old Men? Yeah, not gonna just ask me any endless questions. Oh, that guy was in a different category. He's like extreme. Like, let me put it this way: he's what you'd call like low functioning psychopath. He couldn't blend in if he wanted to. He's so messed up that he has to kind of be a loner. If you're around him, he's going to stand out as really, really screwed up. So you got your high-functioning psychopaths and narcissists, your low-functioning psychopaths and narcissists. Anyway, let's see. And finally here, to be fair, with those forehead genetics, I wouldn't have gone to Daddy's funeral either. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you people constantly attacking the man and his relationship with his own father? No, Andrew, I am your father. All right, we ready to check out another video clip here?
Another? We didn't even check out one.
Frivolous love. Yeah, we did. We saw him self-snitching. Oh, yeah, I didn't get to comment much on self-snitching, but guys, I spent years in prison. I never saw anyone that's even like 10% of that guy's self-snitching. No one. He's in a completely different category of self-snitching. See, I was locked up before, like, people are posting on social media and stuff. Now the most common form of self-snitching is someone brags about something on social media and stuff like this. But you're regarded as an idiot. If you do that once, oh, I got away with robbing a store or something like that, you're regarded as a complete idiot if you do that. When I was locked up, it would be like you told someone about what you did, and this person goes and turns you in or something like that. Like you told something. There's always, of course, police, while questioning you, can get you to admit what you did and so on. But it's viewed, if you didn't say, lawyer, I ain't saying anything, you're kind of regarded as, somewhat stupid, but it's understandable because lots of people fall for that sort of thing. And then you got the people who did something, they tell someone else about it, and then they get busted for it. It's like, why did you tell someone? You didn't have to tell anyone, you idiot. You wanted to brag about what you did to someone and they turned you in. Or what frequently happens is you can tell your buddy. You can tell your buddy what you did. My buddy, he's not going to tell me. My buddy's cool. He's not going to run in. Then your buddy gets arrested for something. And your buddy's like, okay, so you're giving me 5 years? What if I gave you some information about another crime, huh? Would you let me slide? Give me a suspended sentence or something like that? And they're like, yeah, sure. He's like, let me tell you what he did. And, yep, that's how the self-snitching works. Keep in mind, anyone who's doing any kind of this stuff is viewed as, man, you're stupid. You wouldn't have got caught if you weren't so stupid. If you didn't keep running your mouth, you wouldn't have got caught. How stupid are you? And then you get to Andrew Tate. No one would have had any clue that what this dude was doing if he hadn't. I mean, he literally made a course. That's like me robbing a store and then making a course on how to rob a store. And I'm using me robbing a store and all these stores I robbed as examples to show you that my method of robbing stores is really effective and how you should use the exact same method of robbing stores. And I just have my entire course out there training people to rob stores and so on. And then someone eventually tells me, what's that?
Have you seen Andrew Tate's lawyer uses that exact example in an interview? Yeah. And the interviewer's like, they're using evidence of his own words that he's told to camera. And that's the exact example that the lawyer says. And he says, Andrew Tate is so smart. Do you really think that he would have done that?
Oh, nice.
Well, to be fair, the actual example would be, so the actual comparison would be that you rob stores for many years and then you go online and start making video courses about how you go to different stores and fool the owners of the stores into giving things to you for free without you having to spend any money on it. So you don't actually call it robbing a store because you're too stupid. You don't even know what robbing a store is. So you tell people about this brilliant tactic of going into a store and not paying money and then leaving with a bunch of stuff, which others could do as well if they just took your advice. And then suddenly all the authorities come and you're in trouble and you're like, well, I was just taking things for free and I was just telling others how to do it. This was just for their benefit. I was just trying to help people. I didn't rob anybody. This would be the example.
What? And that's the thing, right? That's one of the lies that Tate says. He says those old videos that I made, they're not part of the case at all. That's just a flat out lie. If you see the court documents, it's just pages and pages of his quotes from podcasts and these courses. Like, they are absolutely evidence that's being used against him.
Indeed. And so here's the situation, guys. Here, it's funny. This is the situation in a nutshell. Andrew Tate figured out how to manipulate people while he was young. Then he applied his methods to girls, getting them to do what he wanted, and used the lover boy method to dupe them into doing webcam work for him. Then he applied the same principles, but he used them on guys to get the guys to fall in love with him. Keep in mind, he's using his methods to get girls to fall in love with him. Then he pretends to be girls while sending messages to guys. He pretends to be girls. Guys, you guys have seen the clips, right? We're not playing the clip, but you guys have seen the clips. What I'm saying is 100% correct here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. He, according to him, guys would think that they're communicating with the webcam girl. So, I'm sitting here talking to a webcam girl. Ooh, she's pretty. Look at her boobies. But you're looking at the webcam girl, but it's Andrew Tate that you're sending messages back and forth from, right? Yeah. So it's Andrew Tate who's sending the messages. Oh, I love your balls. Oh, your balls are so great and stuff. He's actually sending these messages to dudes, pretending to be a webcam girl. But anyway, what's that mean? And then he brags, he gets these guys to be sending them selling their stuff, mortgaging their houses and stuff to send them money. Who is it? It's Andrew Tate. He was catfishing. You're actually in love with Andrew Tate. That's the one who's sending you all these messages. That's the love of your life that you're corresponding with. It's Andrew Tate. What's that mean? It means he used his skills to get men to fall in love with him. He used his skills, the same skills that he used to get women to fall in love with him. And to do cam work, he used those same skills to get men to fall in love with him and to send him piles of money. Then he takes these skills and uses them to convince guys, hey, if you want to be like me, I've got this. So he expands his use of this. And then once he eventually gets caught and exposed, he rebrands himself as a self-help guru and tells people, I'm just out to help other people. And all this stuff is just from my past. Yeah, many years ago and way back in my past, I did a couple of little things. It's mostly taken out of context, but couple little things. And lots of people are very forgiving and say, oh, if that's just in your past and now you're just this great man trying to help young people, why are we going to hold that against you? And then you've got people like Nathan here who said, this wasn't 10 years ago. This was 2 years ago and stuff like that as of when he's telling these lies. And he gets exposed. So what do you do? Well, it turns out he has a method of dealing with that problem as well. People are exposing you because you're a liar. Now, the obvious takeaway should be maybe stop lying so much and it wouldn't be so easy to expose your lies.
The thing is also he's so addicted to lying that sometimes, in order to cover up what he actually did, he makes up these completely unnecessary lies. Like, why would you do that? He sits down with Candace Owens, for example, and he explains to her how yes, he did run a webcam business many years ago, and he says, yeah, and the women were sitting there in front of a camera, fully clothed.
Fully clothed.
Mm-hmm. Why would you make up such a stupid lie? Who believes that? Like he says in his old videos very clearly. He says very clearly that they are naked, that they are topless, that they are showing everything, and are chatting with the guys while he's actually behind the camera chatting with them while they are sitting in front of the camera. So, but to Candace Owens, he said no, they were fully clothed. Why would you say such a lie? It's completely unnecessary.
He says one of them was just painting. One of them just painted. Like they're Bob Ross.
Yeah. Yes, and one of them, she would just sit there, completely clothed, and read a book. And guys were sending her piles of money for this. It's like, yeah, dude, come on. Nobody
pays for clothes women just to chat with them or something like that.
Yeah,
and maybe they do. I don't know.
But you're right, AP, about like the pointless lies. He did not need to say that. That did not add to his case in any way. At least not in a way that was worth being exposed instantly, because he says these things that are easy to expose. Just like when he also said, wasn't this to Candace? I've never sold drugs. He's got all these videos of him bragging about selling drugs. And it's like, you didn't need to say that. You could have said, for instance, I sold drugs when I was young and then I stopped. Okay, we're fine with you doing something and then stopping. We're okay with you stopping.
Remember he was also pushing that this has nothing to do with my old webcam business. This is all about TikTok.
TikTok, pennies. Because I helped girls. I explained how to use TikTok to girls, and then they
it's all about the webcam business.
It's crazy. It's like this case is just about TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely insane. So, guys, Tate can't stop lying. Every time he talks, he lies, and that makes it really easy for people who've gone through his videos and so on and courses to expose his lies. So, what happens when you're an idiot and you make it easy to expose your lies? You have to engage in the classic art of frivolous lawsuits. Let's go ahead and check out Tate bragging about how he does this.
You can't hide in this world. It took all of 3 minutes to get all the information. And as for litigating his parents, I don't need a reason. You're going to have to defend yourself regardless. That's the thing about the American legal system. You cannot ignore it. I don't care if it costs me $1 million to take $1,000 out of your bank. You're going to be in court twice a month for the rest of your human years. I don't care. I will sue you for any and every reason forever. And you're going to have to hire lawyers and turn up forever. I will do that. I'm that guy. I'm petty. I'm petty and I've got a lot of money and a lot of time. So it's not even about guilty. It's not about why. It's just about because I can. It's one of many, many things I was going to do.
Talking about self-snitching here, you have any idea how effective this would be for something that actually goes to trial, and you just start off by playing this for the jury? That's it. This is Exhibit A. This is Exhibit A.
This guy's such an idiot, man.
Yeah. So the question is, it's a big question. There's a lawsuit here. Is it frivolous or not? Is this the sort of guy who would, we want to know, is this the sort of guy who would file all these frivolous lawsuits? We don't know. Oh, wait, he's admitting it. Okay, he basically brags about it. Okay, he brags about it online. Okay, all right. Next. That's how it works. But here he is.
Buy the property next to.
This is your genius, Tate fans. This is your genius. So he says all these things, then all these things get exposed as lies because he's stupid, and then you say, okay, well, how's he going to stop people from spreading from spreading the truth in response to his lies? Well, he'll take them down with endless frivolous lawsuits. He says, I'll spend $1 million to make you spend $1,000. That's how I am. I'm petty. And he's bragging about it, which would basically ruin any frivolous lawsuit that actually gets to the level of court. He'd be completely crushed by just playing this clip.
I am the smartest man in the world.
This is your genius that you're taking all your life advice from.
His father's Airbnb and list it for free. I will bankrupt you. You don't understand the levels I will go to. I'm that guy. And he felt it because people turned up at his door. Once I had his address, I started putting, I didn't want to get banned from Twitter. Obviously, it happened in the end anyway. Yeah. But at first I put his street name, then I put his house number. And then when guys turned up at his house, I had to fly some friends of mine from Vegas to LA. Like, I had to spend money on this shit. This took time out of my life. When he looked out the window and saw the SUV, then he starts apologizing on the internet. Like a little bitch. I still might litigate him into the fucking ground. Why not? What else have I got to do? Anybody could run their mouth to me. I can do the same thing to them. I've turned up at dudes' houses before. I put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
I do this.
This is the absolute gayest face I've ever seen in my entire life. Just screams out, I am a gay human trafficker. Deal with it. All right. Where's our lawsuit, Tate?
Rapist.
You coward.
Coward rapist.
Oh, boy. All right. So we ready to take a look at this lawsuit?
Yes.
All right. So let me go ahead and get this pulled up. So this is the actual lawsuit, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So we have Tristan Tate and Andrew Tate. Tristan Tate, an individual. Guys, getting weak there. Supposed to go like, oh, Andrew Tate, he's top G, king of the universe. Cowards. Versus John Doe, a.k.a. Cran Murders. And should we be reading any of this?
I mean, you don't have to. This is the front page. This lists
Some
all
of the
the
boring.
defendants.
Okay, we got the parties. We got plaintiffs. Let's just check out the names here. We got plaintiffs, Tristan and Andrew Tate, are businessmen, pornographers, who've been residing in Romania for the past 10 years. Thus, plaintiffs are considered stateless for purposes of federal removal jurisdiction. Then we have Jane Doe, the real Susie Wynn. So what are these, social media names or something?
Yeah, these are X accounts.
Okay, X accounts. Then we have Mary Doe, Avalon IT, John Doe, a.k.a. Aha, there we have Cran Murders. Boom. Let's check out these two because we know these two. So we have defendant John Doe, a.k.a. Cran Murders, murdered by Crans on information and belief, is not a resident of the state of Florida that has directed social media postings into the state of Florida. Directed social media postings into the state of Florida. That's the Florida connection.
Yeah, that's the premise. The
Like
people in Florida saw these posts on social media.
So I could be sued right now by Tate and added to this lawsuit about Florida because my social media posts have entered into the state of Florida.
And you're conspiring with me.
Conspire. And they appeared in a live stream together. This is the proof of the conspiracy, the Matrix. Specifically to influence public opinion regarding a case filed by plaintiffs in Palm Beach County, Florida. So what is this? What is this? You guys like just commenting on a case that's going on in Florida, and that's the evidence of conspiracy or something?
Yeah, and so that case in Palm Beach, Florida, is the one where they've been suing their alleged American victim for defamation because she gave a statement to Romanian prosecutors and authority. So they've been making her life a living hell for the past 3 years, and they put up all her personal information, where she lives and everything online. So everything you just saw him confessing to in that video, he did that to one of his alleged victims.
Huh. And we have defendant Nathan Livingston.
Who's that?
Misspelled.
Yep, misspelled. Say, ha, that's what you can say. Say, hey, it ain't me. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. I don't know who you're looking for. Livingston? Who's this? On information and belief, is not a resident of the state of Florida that has directed social media postings into the state of Florida, specifically to influence public opinion regarding a case filed by plaintiffs in Palm Beach County, Florida, and is an adult over the age of 18. Then we have June Doe, Mad About Sheep, Jack Doe, Gadget, James Doe, CS Skeptic, and Doe, Thoughts and Players. Thoughts and Players. Then we have Rose Doe, From the Broken Side, Emily Doe, Usama Broad, Matthew Jury, Eleanor, Gayton, Eminem Doe, a.k.a. That Channel, and Zachary Bonfilio. There's Misfit.
This is the funny thing, man. Like many of these accounts, they have like a few thousand followers, 1,000 followers. None of their posts went viral and all that. And then there's me and you, and our posts went viral, and we talked about them forever. And we are not part of this lawsuit. What is this, man? I'm just upset about this. I don't know. I can't get over it.
Maybe Tate is scared I would challenge him to Mubahala or an MMA match. Beat the crap out of him. Defendant Lucy Brown. Oh, so it's... Oh, no, that's 15, right? Because number one was those guys. So is that 15? That's 15 people? I count 15. Yeah, so point one is Andrew and Tristan. All the rest are people, so it goes all the way up to 16. 15 people, ladies and gentlemen, 15 people named in this lawsuit. And what is this? This is a complaint for damages exceeding $50,000 for defamation per se, commercial defamation, civil conspiracy. And I'm guessing the defamation is you basically pointing out things that were said about him by himself and others. Basically, right? That the defamation?
That's right. Yep.
Is there anything in here that we want to take a look at besides the charges specifically against you?
No, I mean, I encourage anyone to read it. It's pretty hilarious. Some of the things, some of the examples, the things they use. So do that in your own time. Because yeah, we can look at mine, but I mean others as well. It's pretty absurd, really.
All right, so here's what the Tater has against you. So this is the milk bar section. They caught the milk bar, everyone. So here are the charges against Milk Bar as far as the defamation suit. So 1, we have proof Andrew Tate filmed a sex tape beating a 14-year-old girl. The disturbing tape was filmed in 2012 and has been in circulation for a while, but the age of the woman, she goes by different names, including Vivian and Cobra Baby, who is seen being beaten by Andrew Tate. Shame on you, Milk Bar, for pointing that out. Chris Tyson is a sicko, but Tristan Tate has no right to call anyone a pervert. I have no idea how that could be defamatory, but we'll see. This is a video that clearly proves how Andrew Tate trafficked women. So that's you claiming that there's a video that proves he trafficked women. Andrew Tate is a groomer. 5, we have proof Andrew Tate is a human trafficker. 6, when people hear human trafficking, they think sound and freedom, and Tate plays on that ignorance, but his whole operation was definition of human trafficking. So that's pointing out something that me and AP have had to point out repeatedly. Yep. Lots of people, when they hear human trafficking, they think of like girls in cages or something like that. And so they say, which girls did he put in cages? Prove that he had girls in cages. And then the response to that is just looking up what the definition of human trafficking is. Yes, human trafficking can include putting girls in cages. That is not the main form of human trafficking. What
it's actually rare.
Yeah, what Tate did, the entire Loverboy method, that is one of the definitions of human trafficking, and it's to a T.
One thing that I find very funny when pointed out, and I like to point this out, especially when dealing with people who are kind of in disbelief that this is called human trafficking, is everybody agrees that Jeffrey Epstein was a child trafficker. But the thing is, Jeffrey Epstein never kidnapped any girls, nor did he put anyone in cages, nor did he put chains on them, as far as we know. What he did was to manipulate people and to blackmail people, to trick people and all that. So this is the kind of stuff that he did. Yet everybody accepts Jeffrey Epstein as a child trafficker. So if you accept him as a child trafficker,
he was never actually found guilty of that.
Uh-huh. So everyone, you heard it here. You heard it here from AP and MilkBarTV. Jeffrey Epstein is innocent and never did anything wrong. You heard it here. You heard it here. Guys, so that's what you'd have to say if you take the standard tater tot responses to, but he was never convicted. Okay, well, Epstein was convicted way back in the day of something, but as far as the stuff against him recently, he was not convicted of any of that. And if you don't think that he wasn't putting kids in cages or anything like that either. So was he innocent of these things? Guys, actually learn what the law is, because these guys are breaking it. And then when we have, let's see, number 7, both have done well to call him out for the vile scumbag he is. How is calling someone a vile scumbag defamation? Let me put it this way. If there were any concept of consistency, calling someone a vile scumbag is defamation. Okay, well, anyone that Andrew Tate has ever responded to who has criticized him in any way, Tate would be guilty of defamation then, following this reasoning, because
there is no evidence that I'm a scumbag.
You can't prove that I'm an actual literal scumbag. Am I not a man? Do I not have flesh? Do I not have bones? Does a scumbag have these things? No, a scumbag only has scum. What a joke. Members of the jury, I've brought in Professor Oopingforth from Oxford University to provide expert testimony that I am not literally a scumbag. Oh boy. Andrew Tate, 8. Let's see, number 8 here. Andrew Tate is exactly the kind of vile human that sides with a pedophile. If he believes it benefits him. And then we have the criminal activities of these defendants, Tristan and Andrew Tate, are a form of slavery. So this is where some of these are just you stating like, okay, he's a scumbag and stuff. Some of these things are actual specific accusations and so on. But you've actually posted responses to all of this. In other words, you've shown where all of these claims are coming from.
Yeah, I've attached, there's the thread I sent you where it has the specific posts that they're referring to. And so with some of these examples, they cut off what's in these posts. So like that last one, number 9, the criminal activities of these defendants are a form of slavery. That's a direct quote from the Romanian prosecutor. But they haven't included that, the rest of that post.
So hang on.
It says that I'm quoting the prosecutor.
Hang on, let me get this straight. The Romanian prosecutor says, hey, you know what these guys are doing? By putting women in these situations and stuff, this is actually a form of slavery. And then you quote the lawyer, you quote the prosecutor saying, hey, this is a form of slavery, according to the prosecutor. And then, aha, we're suing him for saying that this is a form of slavery.
Yeah, I think it's in that thread. I think it's probably the last one. Where you can see how I'm quoting it, like in quotation marks, Romanian prosecutor. But they've cut that out to make it seem like that's just my statement.
Let's see. Where is that? Vile human sides with a pedophile. And then, okay, yeah, you do. Hang on, let me see if I can get that up there. Let me see if I can get it up. Definitely not in the way Andrew Tate can't get it up without abusing women. But I'm referring to something completely different here, everyone who's watching. And I will just put that on the screen for everybody. Might have to crop it a bit, but. So we have here. So you can see the tweet up here. I'm trying to zoom in on this. There we go. There we go. So here's the actual tweet this is the actual guilty tweet. This is what they're citing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
you can see they cut it off. They cut it off at slavery.
All right, so everyone getting this? So this is MilkBarTV, and it says the criminal activities of these defendants, Tristan and Andrew Tate, are a form of slavery. Brand their victims with tattoos. Prosecutor's office. So it's the prosecutor's office. You put in actual quotation marks. This is what the prosecutor said. The criminal activities of these defendants, Tristan and Andrew Tate, are a form of slavery. Brand their victims with tattoos. And it's the prosecutor saying this is a form of slavery, using branding. And so go back
and even the video.
Go ahead.
The video linked it actually has the court document that is quoting the prosecutor's office.
I'll be the judge of that. Let's check it out. So here's the branding video.
The branding comes up over and over again, doesn't it, the more you look into it?
Yeah, the branding actually comes up in the 86-page document that was obtained from Romania.
Whose voice is this?
This is Crayon Murders.
Aha, that's what I thought.
Read part of that. It says the criminal activities of these defendants are a form of slavery, according to the prosecutor's office, like 19th century U.S. slave owners who branded their slaves with a red iron. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate defendants brand their victims with tattoos indicating that they are the defendant's property. For example, they have tattoos with the message, owned by Tate, in English.
This is insane, man. You cite actual evidence, and they put your quotation of the evidence as evidence that you defamed them.
Yeah.
What the?
So following this reasoning, if I were to simply say, here's what someone is charged with, and here's what the prosecutor said, according to Tate, that is defamation, and I will sue you for it.
Yeah. I mean, even me saying, proof Andrew Tate is a human trafficker, it features a clip of him that is being used as proof of him being a human trafficker. But they say, well, this is me here saying proof, human trafficker. It's like, well, but like we've already covered, him self-snitching is proof that he's a human trafficker.
Yeah. It's really, really weird. It's here. I can say whatever I want and admit to whatever I want. And if you ever point out what I said, then it's defamation and I'll sue you. Here are all the charges against me, and here's what prosecutors are saying. If you report on this in any way and aren't just regurgitating the lies that I'm telling about it, but if you actually give accurate information about this trial, that's defamation. It's somehow, that's what he's saying, everyone. It's defamation to report what a prosecutor said is going on. And to actually just quote the prosecutor. Keep in mind, as far as I can tell, that prosecutor could have said something 100% indisputably false. And if you're just quoting the prosecutor saying, this is what the prosecutor said, you don't know anything. You're quoting the prosecutor. But the prosecutor sounds 100% correct to me there. And you're just pointing out what the prosecutor said. And now you've got a lawsuit for it. You're being sued for it.
Yep.
Everyone.
I mean, would you, if you reading through these examples, I mean, is there anything that you think is a lie or not true?
No. The only lies I see are from Tate.
Should point out there's one. Like you said, there's one
the
where
charges against you.
There's one where I called Tristan Tate a pervert. So they're claiming that's defamation.
Let's see. Tristan Tate is a total pervert and a scumbag and a human trafficker. Where's our lawsuit, Tristan? You sniveling coward. Is it because we're American? You're going to go pick. See, he's picking on Australians because like the entire island is populated by criminals. And so he thinks it's more believable down there. But we've got our share of criminals here too, Andrew and Tristan. In fact, I'm literally a convicted felon. So it would be entirely believable. You don't just need to go after Australians here. Bunch of cowards.
The thing is, with the word pervert, so what they try to sometimes do is that if somebody accuses someone of being a pervert, and the other side then says this is defamation, they're trying to make the case that it is an accusation of kind of sexual deviance or something like that, or sexual.
He's guilty as charged, based on his own words.
And they try to make it look like that is completely defamation. But excuse me, we have videos in which he literally obsessively talks about how he tracks down virgins just to establish a relationship with them, very short, to then take their virginity and then dump them and to move on to the next virgin. Pervert.
I don't believe anything you're saying, AP, so I'm going to have to see this for myself in video form. We want the receipts, ladies and gentlemen. We don't just believe anything any random Turkish ex-Muslim tries to tell us here. So here you have it up here, guys. Let's see. We have, this is one of the things that is being used in the lawsuit here. Nathan Livingston. And he said, there you have it. The case cracker. He says it right there. So on the top there, you have an actual picture of the lawsuit about what he said. You could click on that if you want. And then you have the offending tweet down below there. Chris Tyson is a sicko, but Tristan Tate has no right to call anyone a pervert. That is part of the lawsuit. But also, there's a video there. There's a video. And I'm thinking we should probably take a look at this video. I do want to point out to everyone. Notice what Tate said. Everyone pay attention to this. Pay attention to this, dang it. Andrew Tate said as his method of silencing people, he sues people. He said it. Frivolous lawsuits. What's the idea behind a lawsuit? Like, you can have frivolous lawsuits as far as like someone goes in and like stubs his toe in a Walmart and then sues Walmart or something like that, right? So you can have those kind of frivolous lawsuits. But here, these sort of malicious, frivolous lawsuits of, I'm going to make you be quiet about me. How? Well, I've got piles of money and I can send lawyers at you. And even though you will win in court, you still have to hire lawyers. And do you really want to go through all that? Do you really want to fight this and spend years of your life going to court and fighting these charges and stuff? Do you seriously want to do this? No, you don't. And so you're going to back down. You're going to back down. That's the idea behind this. And lots of people will back down. In fact, we kind of alluded to it earlier, but the thing that I already had a terribly low view of Andrew Tate, but it dropped even further when he was responding to a victim of the grooming gangs, right? So she said something about Tate being a trafficker or whatever she said, and he starts threatening. We're suing you. We're suing you. We're suing you. We're suing you. We're suing who? And it was just watching her like regress back to like, I don't question men. I don't question men, saying, I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything, which is exactly how she would have had to have been with the grooming gangs. And seeing her like regress once a man is like in her face. And him, like, they kept pushing. They kept pushing. They kept pushing.
That is that thing where you think you can't despise him more. Mm-hmm. That is the thing where you could tell she was getting re-traumatized by what was going on. So she posted a retraction, and then they came out and said, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Go and make us a sandwich. Go and do this, you know, to a grooming gang survivor. I mean, like,
that was when I called him a rapist and it went viral. I think that was the instance, right?
No, you're right. Yeah. And then I went really hard at him and started, you know, because it was just like, fuck that. Like, this is the, you know, like, screw that. Like, you know, this is as bad as it gets.
That's evil, guys. Everyone watching, that is pure evil. So she had been a victim of lots of the girls who were victims of the grooming gangs became victims when they're like 12 and 13 and something. Wasn't she like 5 or something like that? I think she was the one who it was like younger. Was that her?
I can't remember. She was young. She was a child.
Yeah, so she was one of the victims of the grooming gangs in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. So she was horribly abused for years. The authorities would not help her. And she mentions Andrew Tate and what Andrew Tate, and we're going to sue you, we're going to sue you. And she gets terrified because she can't go to court. She can't go to court over this stuff, which people like us were thinking, do not back down from this guy. We'll help you. We'll help you with a fundraiser or something like that. But do not back down from this guy. But she did, and it was just watching her like go back into the mode of someone who's just terrified of God, and them loving it. They were loving it and just heaping threats, and they loved being able to abuse and control this girl who had spent her life being abused and controlled. Finally got out of it, and they tried to put her right back in this situation. Pure.
These people are
evil scumbags.
Everybody who is with them, everybody who rejoices
Quote us on it,
they're
Tate.
pure, filthy scumbags. It's like,
we would love to say it to a jury.
You know, we get concerned and upset and angry when we hear about grooming gang victims, and then you have a grooming gang victim, a victim of these grooming gangs, of these groomers, of these rapists, of these filthy bastards, and then you have Andrew Tate actually publicly bullying her, and his own very, very gay fans who just dream of him at night,
fantasizing about
joining
him,
in and also bullying her. So anybody who gets angry and upset about grooming gangs and what grooming gangs are doing, these people should be your enemies. Mm-hmm. These people should be seriously your enemies. These people are complete, pure, absolute scum.
And any of you fans out there, you can have fans who actually don't know about this stuff, right? Like you can sort of be a distant fan of Andrew. Oh, he's really the top G. Maybe you don't know about this stuff. When you find out about this stuff and you still support him, like him re-traumatizing victims of grooming gangs and loving it and getting off on it and getting aroused on it and probably whacking off about it. Okay, do not ever tell me about how Andrew Tate. I regard you as an evil scumbag as well. And that's all I can regard you as.
No excuses.
No excuses.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the elements of defamation is that the person doesn't believe the statement that they're saying, and that's why it's
it has you has to be knowingly saying something, right?
Yeah, and so I can say with all my body that I believe that Andrew Tate is a pure vile scumbag
and a rapist.
What about Tristan? Do you actually believe that Tristan is a pervert?
Well, maybe we can roll the tape.
Let's let Tristan decide for us, ladies and gentlemen. Does this man sound like a pervert? We will find out now.
Let me tell you something about this cigar. It's like...
Hang on. So just to be clear, this is the video where you said Tristan is a pervert, and this is the video. And so this is the evidence of what's being said here. We will all judge. Maybe we'll do a poll. Ladies and gentlemen, whether Tristan Tate is a pervert. And then he could sue us all. Just be aware. If you say yes, you could be guilty of defamation by saying this man is a pervert.
Let me tell you something about this cigar. It's like taking the virginity of a really beautiful woman. I get to have this experience and no one else gets to have it again. It is a little bit better, but the real pleasure is in the fact that somebody else would love to have this, and I get it. That's
what a pathetic.
This good cigar here is like seducing a man who thinks that you're a beautiful cam girl, and you've got him right in the palm of your hand as you're talking about wanting him to give it to you. This cigar reminds me of those experiences of us getting men off for years to get their money.
Makes sense. I'll give you that. I agree with that.
So 3 months ago, I met this girl in Poland. And the last picture I uploaded, and I didn't upload it yet. I uploaded it when you were watching.
Yeah.
I met her in Poland 4 or 5 times. I took her out. Virgin, 18 years old.
Yep.
Beautiful girl. Now you've seen the picture. You know what she looks like. What do you think? 8.5, 9?
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, smoking. So I took my time. Time and words had to be wasted. Did all the bullshit I usually do. There was no hard close on her. I left, gave her a big kiss, said, I'm going to miss you, etc., etc. Flew her to Romania. The first 2 days I spent with her in Romania, I purposefully, hear me out, John, chess. Ready?
He's using his brilliant chess mindset. That's interesting. I didn't even know Tristan was a chess player as well, just like Daddy and Andrew.
I booked her here for 3 days to fly here, okay? For the first 2 nights, I booked a hotel for her. And my assistant drove her to her hotel every night. I kissed her on the couch. Tasha, she liked me. She was into it. Georgiana's here. She's taking you home. First 2 nights, took her home. Third night, her flight was at 7 a.m. Baby, you may as well stay with me. Chess. Set up. This is what it takes to fuck 9 out of 10 virgins. When you are in the true abundance mindset of you can have the pick of the crop. You can have the world's most attractive women. I mean, one of my main chicks has 200,000 Instagram followers, and I took her virginity when she was 17.
It's an abundance mindset. Yeah. I have so many girlfriends and so many wonderful girlfriends and so many virgins.
And this is an argument no one but me ever says. Every woman was a virgin once. And everyone's like, all the women in this place are bad, and all the women in that place are bad, and all the women in that bad. Listen, if you get her before she's fucking sucked everyone's dick, if you get a girl with a body count of 0, you could turn her into a good girl.
This girl had a body count of 1. I had taken her virginity. 2 of them.
When they say good girls, seems like they mean girls who are completely under your control and then eventually do cam girl work for you. Those are the good girls.
Yes.
You train them to be completely compliant to whatever you want.
Girls who were at that party, I had taken their virginities. So I took this girl's virginity.
I mean, I know a virgin for webcams. Literally. I mean, she's not a virgin because I'm the only guy who's banged her.
I'll say this in public. I only go down on women who are virgins.
One of the girls I dated here, I famously said she was a 26-year-old virgin. And she was a 9. And people say, oh, no, I don't believe it. There's no such thing as a 26-year-old virgin. I'm like, okay, you think I, Tristan Tate, don't know a virgin when he fucks one? Like, seriously. Fucking give me a break.
I fuck so many virgins in this country because virgins will take me 10 dates, 20 dates to fuck. People are like, how do you wait that long? I don't wait. Date, dinner, nice romantic time, go home, fuck one of my girls who I already have. Like, I'm not waiting at all. Yeah. I'm just putting the work in. I'm now uploading a picture right now in real time of last night's girl. She was a Polish virgin who I've been talking to for 3 months.
Who are all these guys who are always giggling themselves silly when these guys are bragging about it?
Since Warsaw.
Huh? What?
This whole manosphere thing is its own,
This is what people listen to when they go and listen to dating advice from these gay men.
Mm-hmm.
And I only just fucked her recently. There's a new post up today. This was last night's girl. Polish virgin. So people say, oh, all the girls you fuck are hoes and this. I put the work in to fuck the good girls.
Yeah, she's awesome.
By the way, everyone understands he's talking about a girl who, woman who was 26 and still a virgin. What's that mean? He's dealing with people who are waiting, who are like, want to wait for their future husband and so on. And his little system of banging virgins is, how do you get to take that from them?
Yes.
It's just like Andrew Tate with, how do you take a woman or a teenage girl who just is falling in love with you and wants to spend her life with you and is enamored by you and wants to have a family with you and children with you. How do you actually take her and turn her into someone who's just doing cam girl work for you? How do you do that?
Which he taught courses on as well.
Yeah.
There's courses that he taught on how to lie and manipulate women into giving up their virginity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's Tristan Tate here saying, okay, you've got a woman who's 22, 24, 26 and still a virgin. This is obviously a woman who's waiting for her future husband. How do you take her virginity anyway so that she doesn't have that to give to her future husband? Well, you make her think that you're the one. Here's how you do that. And then you take her virginity and then you turn her into a cam girl. You can train her to be a good girl, namely someone completely under your control. Guys, these are messed up stuff. It's like, how do you take a woman who does not want to do any of the stuff you want her to do and get them to do it anyway and completely change their lives and their dreams for the future and so on?
You think 8.5, 9 to buy most?
Looks like a Polish Marilyn Monroe or some shit.
Yeah. 18 years old, man. 18 years old. Met her in Poland, took on 5 dates and never fucked her. Until Romania last
I think my record is seven dates before getting a close, and that was fucking annoying. And then after that was a Polish chick too.
You see this? They're bragging again. But think Tristan's method is you just keep dating them for a while, dating them, go on dates and stuff, so that they think you're a guy who's waiting too. See, you're waiting for the special woman. What's that?
Watch what he just says now as well. Coming up.
Okay, I will even back up because you got this dork talking.
7 dates before getting a close, and that was fucking annoying. And then after that,
what kind of loser gets Tristan Tate on there and then tries to, oh, I do that too. Yeah, me too. I begged him too. It took me 7 days. You're a loser, dude. You're a loser and a scumbag like your boyfriend Tristan here.
That was the Polish chick too. And then she said right after that, she said, well, now we have to be boyfriend, girlfriend, or we can't keep having sex. So that was that.
Well, I would just say yes.
Yeah, and I would.
I'm a liar, bro. I'm a liar.
I think I was moving. I was
the second man she ever fucked in her whole life. Beautiful, big knuckle tits, so cute.
There you go.
Man, it hurt her at every moment that I was doing it, but it felt good for me. So who gives a shit?
You get that?
Wow.
So he's hurting her, and he doesn't care because all he cares about is himself. And guys, so keep in mind, this isn't just a guy who is obsessed with sex or something like that. Right? There's tons of guys who want to have sex with lots of women and girls and so on. This is a guy who specifically gets off on taking something from a girl or a woman who's trying to save that for a future husband. How do I get what she is reserving for someone's, how do I take that from her? And then she never had, and then I dump her, or she does cam girl work for me and she never gets what she wanted out of life. Some people really, really, really like doing something like that. I'd call that a pervert. Now, let me go ahead and do a poll right now, everyone. Is Tristan Tate a pervert? Guess we'll find out how many tater tots we've got in the chat.
Well, he most definitely is a pervert.
Oh, 100% say Tristan Tate is a pervert. Oh, 98. We got 97. Here we go. Now it's dropping. Now we got the tater tots. Oh, really? We're supposed to vote now? Tell us how Daddy, how should we vote on this one? Tell us, Daddy. Freaking morons.
And this is the thing, that video, I made that video because the specific topic, I said I make videos that are to do with one topic. So that one's just about Tristan Tate's obsession with having sex with virgins. So that's not even a compilation on Tristan Tate being a pervert, let alone the evidence that's there. I mean, even just recently in the countersuit from Jane Doe, there was leaked messages from Tristan Tate talking with a 16-year-old, and he was saying that because she said that she lied about her age, so that then meant that for the next 10 times they would have anal sex only.
Yep.
With a 16-year-old.
And hey, pause that thought, because what he did right there, he accused her of something, right? Now, isn't that part of their entire methodology? You falsely accuse the girl of something, or you say she did something, or you pretend to be really bothered by something she did. And then, so what would this look like in real life? So you get a girl, everyone pay attention, because Tate talks about this, and this we actually have in his PhD course or War Room or whatever nonsense discussion, where he's explaining what he's doing with this girl. So he gets the girl to fall in love with him, and then says, well, here's something that you did. I don't want to be around you anymore. And then what happens? Then she feels like she's bad, and she has to do something to redeem herself. So in that context, I think it was, I found out you worked in a sex club or something like this. She's like, what? I never did that. Yes, I heard that you worked in a sex club. She goes, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. And he uses that to get more control over, because now you have to win back his trust. How do you win back his trust? By mindlessly doing everything he says. So this is all.
Well, and that example that you're using is from a leaked War Room chat where he's talking about how he groomed one of the women.
Yes, yes.
And in that example, that you worked in a there's a rumor that you worked as like a stripper. He's the one that planted that rumor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember.
So he's the one that spread that, and then he then uses that to shame her, and then it's like what you're saying. Then
you shame them. Yeah, you shame them, and now I don't want to be around you. It's all part of the game. It's all part of the plan.
Wait!
It's completely made up.
That's the one where she's religious, and she says, "I'm a Christian girl, a woman, and I don't want to do these things and all that." And he then shows those messages to his people, to his followers, to his war room, and says, and basically says, "She will do it. I will make her do it. Eventually she will do it. I don't care if she's religious or not." So this is that conversation.
He says effectively, I'm going to replace God for her. I will be the leader of the flock, and I will take that position.
Mm-hmm. And so we know these guys have this as their method to just blow up over something. You get the girl to fall in love, and then you blow up over something, and then okay, do you really want to win back my trust? And sure, anything. Okay, here's what you have to do. And we see this right here, right? He's got this girl. She's in love with him. She's 16 or whatever. And then, I found out you lied to me. I found out I don't want anything to do with you. You lied to me. No, I'll do anything. Okay. First 10 times we have sex is going to be all anal. I remember reading that. And he's saying this you're saying this is a 16-year-old girl? That's who this was?
I believe it's 16, yeah.
Okay. So he's doing this to one of his victims, and that's how he gets what he wants. And just have to point out, we've got the poll over here. 429 votes so far. 98% say yes, Tristan Tate is a pervert. That's over 400 people to add to your lawsuit there, Tristan, because we all think you're a total pervert. What's that?
Pervert.
Hey, a little side note, Tristan. Learn to read the room. You want to take this stuff to court and have this presented on a jury? So this how it'd go in court, Tristan. Members of the jury.
I've got to,
what's up?
I've got to head off in a few minutes, but I want to just, I just want to highlight the fundraiser.
Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
as we're saying, these are the examples of defamation, is calling, them a pervert and a vile scumbag and directly quoting the Romanian prosecution. So, these are examples that are being used of my defamation. And so, so we're trying to crowdfund our defense. So the link is givesendgo.com.
It's in the description. It's in the description box.
Great. Right. So go down in the description. So I think that's the important. I think that's the important thing to highlight, is that they're coming after us, but they're also sending a message to everyone
else,
to say that if you call them perverts, or if you call them scumbags, or if you attempt to expose the realities of their criminal cases, that they'll come after you and they'll try and silence you. So that's what we're trying to really bring to people's attention. This is a matter of free speech, and it is a matter of being able to actually vocally denounce these guys as the destructive force they are in the world.
Mm-hmm. And let me go ahead and did everyone catch that? So think about Andrew and Tristan. They're compulsive liars, evil scumbags, compulsive liars, compulsive manipulators. They can't stop. They keep people in line in various ways, often by heaping abuse on them and terrifying them of ever crossing these guys. And you saw what they did with a victim of the grooming gangs, a UK victim of the grooming gangs, who eventually got out of that whole scenario and has been exposing the grooming gangs. She dared mention the Tate brothers, and they started heaping threats and abuse on her. That's how they're doing it. What are they trying to do? They're using threats and intimidation and abuse to silence anyone who would criticize them. Why? Because as soon as someone's criticizing them, it destroys all their lies. And so what's going on with Nathan and Cran murders and 13 other people on that list is they're trying the exact same thing. They're trying to make everyone shut up, but not just them. They're not just trying. Keep in mind, they're not just trying to make Nathan be quiet. As Nathan pointed out, that is a warning to future people. Hey, do you want to call me a pervert? Which, guess what? You're entirely justified in calling this guy a pervert. But if you dare call me a pervert, I'm going to take you to court over it. Do you want to hire a lawyer? Do you want to have to hire a lawyer? So, guys, this is they're basically trying to silence their current critics and their future critics with this, and you just can't let them win on this. You can't. So you're basically standing your ground to the end, right, Nathan?
Yeah, absolutely. And you just think how they spin any kind of legal victory, even a very, very minor one. So with their first case that they were indicted for, that indictment was sent back to the prosecutor to fix several irregularities that they found. And the Tate brothers have ever since December last year, have been nonstop saying that case has been dropped. That's how they spin it. They say, look, the case was thrown out. Look at that. We're innocent. So just imagine if they found Crayon Murders or me guilty of defamation. How they would then spin that,
or if you guys just agreed to do whatever they want and you back out and stuff. You see,
exactly.
They knew they would be exposed. They knew they would be exposed in court. That's why they backed out.
And I think that's the important thing as well. Like you saw in that video with him talking about how he'll weaponize lawfare against his critics. I don't think they even put into the equation whether they will win or not. As he says, that's not even a factor in the decision making. It is the process as the punishment. It's trying to make our lives a living hell and trying to drain us of all of our resources, and make this lawsuit, just a living hell for us. So that is why we're asking if you can help donate and help fund our defense, because we're just regular people. We can't afford the kind of legal defense. They have their lawyer by their side. It's like the mafia. Mm-hmm. They just throw out lawsuits nonstop, and they've got them on a retainer. So this isn't going to drain them. They know that this is going to cost us and that we can't afford it. So that's why we're asking for help. And none of us are looking to make a profit off this. any of the money that's raised, even if it goes over the target, we'll be putting that towards their alleged victims or to organizations to combat sex trafficking. So we're asking for your help. If you believe that they are the scumbags that I think that is very evident that they are, and you believe that you have a right to say that, then please consider donating.
Yeah, everybody should help out. This is very, very important. Really.
Yeah, guys, just to be clear, again, everyone, Tates are trying to silence people through stupid, frivolous lawsuits that they would never in a trillion years win. But their hope is that people just don't want to spend the money because the Tates have the money. Keep in mind, where are the Tates getting this money? Idiot fans signing up for their war room. You're sending money to them, and they're using that money to give to lawyers to silence anyone who criticizes them. This is their system. This is their system. So they only have this money to engage, to have these people constantly on retainer and suing people. And keep in mind, whatever lawyers are doing this, they know these guys are scumbags. The lawyer who's putting this case together, he knows this is insane and idiotic. He's just, okay, well, I'm getting paid by who? By Tate and Tristan, who are getting all this money from a bunch of idiot, like 16-year-olds and stuff, who use their parents' credit cards to sign up. But so that's what they're doing, and their goal is to silence people. And guess what? You don't want to live in a world where the most evil scumbags around get to silence everyone else and be just corrupting endless people, destroying people's lives. And so you don't want to let them get away with it. And so everyone, the link is in the description box for the fundraiser. They don't know what it's going to cost because they don't know they don't know how far these guys are going to go with it, whether they're going to have to actually go to court and stuff like that. So there's a high goal. Nathan is, and by the way, this isn't just Nathan. It's for a group. It's for a group of the people listed in the lawsuit. And he said they're not making money off this. If they end up getting more than they need, that will go to victims of trafficking and so on. So this would be a really good.
We'd love to consider even doing anti-slap and actually being able to countersue. That would be great.
That would be good.
That would be ideal. But yeah, again, these things cost money. So I mean, we haven't weighed that up yet. But that would be ideal because we want to take the fight to them. We're not gonna back down. I think that's what they think we'll do. And that's the thing. As you're saying, there really is no reason why Ridvan or you aren't part of this suit. They've calculated who they're going after. I don't know what that calculation is, but I think partly it is because of how effective some of us have been, like Crayons and I, if I can try and be modest, but that's where it's just it is frivolous. It makes no sense, so any.
Yeah, I do want to add something here as well, and I think I would like this to be clipped and published as well. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, from the beginning, as soon as I found out years ago about the things that you have done, I have been there posting about you two scumbags and sex traffickers. So I believe fully, and I will say again and again, that you are sex traffickers and that you definitely, Andrew Tate, are a rapist by your own admission. And Tristan Tate, you're also a pervert. So I'm not sure why I'm not included in this. I shared with millions out there that you are a rapist, Andrew. So instead of suing, smaller accounts, you should also include us. You are absolutely sex traffickers and rapists and perverts. Thank you.
And I just want to point out, I disavow everything that AP just said. Andrew Tate is a saint, and he's awesome. I mean, when I think about like the coolest guy in the world, I just think that would be a guy who's catfishing other men and getting them off, through text messages and so on. Talking about, I love your balls and all this stuff. That's what a real top G is to me. So don't sue me, you freaking sex trafficking piece of garbage scumbag. Anyway. All right, Nathan, you were saying you got to go. Again, everyone, this Nathan and Crayon Murders, they're on the front line. They've been on the front lines from the beginning. In fact, Tate and Tristan, as he pointed out, this is why Tate and Tristan are going after them, among others. If it were not for these two guys right here, if it were not for those two guys, Nathan here and Crayon Murders, Tate and Tristan would be in a significantly better spot right now. A lot more people would be on their side or in a state of ignorance if they hadn't been sort of relentlessly exposing these lies. By going through all the videos and stuff, finding the videos and exposing the lies and so on, more people would be influenced by Tucker and Candace and all these people, and you wouldn't have had getting the attention of actual major people in the media sharing these clips, exposing the lies. So these two people right here are again on the front lines of exposing the Tates and undoing the damage that they've done. So support them, definitely support them. Link is in the description box. Chip in anything you can, 5, 10, whatever. Some of you can definitely chip in more. So the point is, there are certain fights in life that you have to win. You have to stand. You have to stand on this hill and say, I'm not backing off this hill at all. The damage would be too much. The damage would be too great, so I have to fight this one. This is one of the fights people have to fight. They're willing to go through all these lawsuits and everything. They're not backing down. But there is a massive power and money imbalance here. So in terms of like number of followers and the amount of money they have. So the Tates have a huge advantage in terms of that. They've already got everything they need. They've already got their lawyers and stuff like that. They use that to silence people. Don't let them use that to silence these guys. So link is in the description to the Give, Send, Go. Chip in whatever you can, and that'll be up for a while. So if you need to wait till payday or something like that, but definitely chip in if you can.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, catch you next time, sir.
Good to see you.
I look forward to seeing you as part of the lawsuit, Red Van.
Yeah, and
I hope so.
And you can be sure if there are any updates as the case moves forward or something like this, or you guys respond or something like that. Keep us updated. I want to jump on live to update everyone.
Yeah, definitely will do. All right, cheers, guys.
Yeah, Nathan, you should probably share what I said to also include me into the lawsuit somehow.
I will. All right, let's get you on board.
Okay,
awesome. All right, catch you next time, man. All right. Well, isn't that crazy, man?
Oh, nice. It's very, very crazy.
Narcissist and a psychopath doing slimy stuff, horribly abusing women, teaching others to abuse women, and then becoming enraged when anyone dares criticize them or expose their lies.
Yeah.
Guys are absolute scumbags.
All of that is pretty messed up, but I think the most messed up thing is still that we're not included in the lawsuit.
That is. That's extremely messed up, man.
What's wrong with you people?
I don't know. Let's take some super chats here. Who is more sus, Nick, Catboy Lover, Fuentesticle, or Ali, the Grape Meister Dawa? Also, any Muhammad hijab quote comps so I can use it in my memomancy.
Memomancy? Nice.
There has to be hijab compilations there somewhere, right?
Probably.
All the stuff?
Probably.
Yeah, there's got to be some Muhammad hijab compilations. But who do you think is more sus, Nick, Catboy Lover, Fuentesco, or Ali, the Great Meister Dawa? So Ali Dawa, admittedly, and on video, likes getting graped in the mouth by men. So you have that, and then you have Nick Fuentes. Women are gross.
I guess you have to kind of make a decision between what's worse, being sexually attracted to little girls or little boys. That's the difference.
Yeah. You'd have to clarify. AP, I love your laugh. It makes me smile inside and out. D Wood, I love your smile. It's very bright and carries your cause, which is inherently good at its core. And your guest, MilkBarTV, has amazing eyes like gems. Much love from Alien X.
Thank you, Alien X.
I didn't know this was coming from an alien. EP, I love your laugh in it. Wait, is that a robot voice or an alien voice? What would an alien sound like? I'll just do a robot. I love your laugh. It makes me smile inside and out. I have to eat you. D Wood, I love your smile. I will eat your face. And Milk Bar, you have amazing eyes that I will eat.
That's more like a robot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to think what an alien voice is like. Who's more anti-Semitic, Tate or Jake Broncatella? Jake. Tate is really just whatever's convenient at a given time. There's no substance there. There's him at the center of the universe for him, and he will use any position to get more people revolving around him. So there's no real loyalty to positions and so on. Whereas Jake is a true believer.
That's true.
David Wood likes to repeat himself. That's true. Yeah, people get annoyed. David, why are you saying this 17 times? Because there are people who need to hear it 17 times because they still don't get the point after 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or all the way up to 16. That's why, guys. You guys think, wait, David, we got it the first time you said it. Yeah, then I'm not talking to you when I say it 17 times. I'm talking to the people that I know from experience take a while.
So why do you have to repeat everything, David?
Let me break it down for you, AP. With all the videos we watched, he should sue himself for defamation. That's true. He should sue himself for self-snitching. I took my dog to get haircut, but they groomed him. Nice. Wallahi, I will sue. This is from Sahih Pro Max Mimi Hijab account. Wallahi, I will sue D-Wood, AP, and MilkBar for defamation. Good point. And challenge him to Mubahala. So glad you were here, MilkBar. Thanks. Yeah, it sucks that these comments are from MilkBar, but he had to take off. He's on the other side of the planet, ladies and gentlemen. He's on the other side of the planet. New subscriber here. This is off topic, but I have to know who came up with the idea of Muhammad's Boom Boom Room.
Not me.
Yeah, I did. That was, I'll tell you exactly how that happened. So after Muhammad Hijab lied and broke everything that he made me agree to for our debate, I decided, okay, there's going to be some sort of punishment here. And I've got to think, okay, what's it going to be? I need to do whatever's going to annoy these guys most. And we were making various videos, and then we did one just as a joke. It was, I played a BBC journalist, and I was interviewing R. Kelly and then Muhammad, right? And the point was all the stuff that R. Kelly is, how a journalist would react to R. Kelly, condemning all this messed up stuff he did, is the opposite of what that same journalist would do with Muhammad. He would just glorify everything Muhammad did, even if he's doing really sick, messed up, perverted stuff. So we did this, and I interviewed John McCrae as R. Kelly, and then I interviewed Vocab as Prophet Muhammad. He wasn't even like doing a voice back then. He was just like, yes, I'm the Prophet Muhammad and stuff like that. It was just a joke. Anyway, guys, Muslims don't ever give me information on what bothers you, because that, like, you're sending me signals on what to do for the future when you get really enraged about stuff. But anyway, I did that. And then some Muslim posted a video and he goes, look, I'm getting all these messages about them portraying Prophet Muhammad in a video. Just, guys, we got to figure this out and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's what annoyed you, eh? Huh. All right. Well, I'm going to have a series where Muhammad interviews other people and then blows them up and stuff. And I actually said during I don't remember, a live stream or a video or something, I said, what should be a good name for it? And someone in the chat said Muhammad's Boom Boom Room. I said he's going to blow himself up at the end of every episode. And I said, what should I call it? And someone said, you should call it Muhammad's Boom Boom Room, which is funny. That's from the movie Life with Eddie Murphy. He said he wanted to have a club called Ray's Boom Boom Room, but this had a completely different meaning. So anyway, then we recorded the first couple episodes. Anyway, that's where Muhammad's Boom Boom Room came from.
That's funny. That's pretty good.
Yep. Now you all know. Now you all know the entire history of everything. David King Dizzle, the way you psychoanalyze narcissistic manipulators in Tate was genius. I've seen you do it before. I love your powerful insights. Yeah, for a couple of years now, I've been planning to make like a video series on basic manipulation tactics, because as I just pointed out, you're not changing a manipulator by like telling him that this is the wrong way to get what he wants. He has to learn that the methods don't work anymore. So you need enough people in the world who are resistant, who are immune, or at least hard to manipulate, in order to get these guys to stop using these tricks. And so one step in that would be getting people to understand these basic manipulation tactics that these guys use. So anyway, still gotta do that. Tater Top Bro 101 says, so in Dawa voice, no, because if you take a narcissist, give him mindless Dawa fans and clan days, you get a bigger narcissist, you see? That's the powerful refutation. Here I have, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Friendly Ex-Muslim. Guys, be sure to check out Abdullah and Mrs. Ex-Muslim's channel. They're putting out awesome content exposing the Dawah. I challenge Tate to Mubahala. That's good. You'll be humiliated. Let's see. Tate Bros. Prison be upon them, inshallah, soon. Yes, prison will be upon them. Tate is such a beta male. Yep. So little. That's why I call Andrew Tate Little Susie Tampon Princess. That's what he is. Qatari rat Pierce Morgan will never talk about this. Qatari rat Pierce Morgan will never talk about this. If Tristan Tate is a pervert, what about Muhammad? Yes, Muhammad. Just because Tristan Tate is a pervert doesn't mean Muhammad's not a pervert. They can all be perverts.
Exactly.
Amazing how they always say secret people are going to frame me while being the most obvious criminals. Definitely worth a peer study. Yep. Be awesome. Sorry if this is off topic, but what is a good translation of the Quran? I want to read it and understand it so I can fight against it.
Nothing against Derek Sanfilippo, but haven't we gotten this question like 50,000 times?
7,000 times. Yeah.
Over the last few live streams. It's kind of funny. I don't know why that started.
Dude, he's actually right, because when you keep getting the same question over and over again, because, people don't watch all your live streams and stuff like that, so they don't see the answers. So they keep asking the same thing, but that probably means I should be making just a little short, like 5-minute video. What Quran translation should I read? And then explain the differences and so on.
Exactly.
So yeah, Derek, any of the main ones. Pichthal's a pretty accurate translation. MH Shakir is a pretty accurate translation, and that's on the easy to read side. Pichthal's more like the King Jamesy type English and so on. As far as popularity, Yusuf Ali's pretty popular. So if you want to use something that's popular among Muslims, Hilali Khan, that's like a Salafi translation. So if you want and they add lots of commentary as well. And if you they usually have like commentary at the bottom. So if you want one that's got commentary, I've been liking the Study Quran as I've been reading through it. So there's the Study Quran. That's a big one, but it also has notes and essays and stuff.
Isn't that like a modernist thing? The Study Quran?
What?
The Study Quran?
I don't know. It's a pretty good translation.
Oh, okay.
Got pretty good stuff in there. I haven't been paying lots of attention to like the sensitive topics, but there's stuff, the way they're translating passages that we use for like Islamic dilemma and stuff. That's why I'm reading through it right now. That specific translation. I want to see how they translate all these passages on Islamic dilemma, but they're pretty darn good. And they have, lots of the study notes are really good. So if you want to study, you want a Quran with commentary and stuff, that's a good one. If you want something that's really critical, and Robert Spencer has his Critical Quran. There's the Sahih International, which AP uses a lot while we're live. I'm trying to think of others. There's the Clear Quran and the Oxford Quran, the Halim. They kind of water down some passages, but they're easy to read. So kind of depends on what you're looking for.
That's what they do.
Matter of fact, yeah, I should make a video just explaining the basics of different Qurans, and then like pull up a passage and then show people the passage in all these different translations so they can get an idea of how different they are and make a decision based on that. Let's see. Tate knows AP has good lawyers because of his big new nose. He said new nose instead of, yeah. That's why he won't sue AP. Yeah. Like,
that's true.
This guy a Jew?
That might be the reason.
Or seriously, how come he hasn't sued us? I understand, because I understand going after Milk Bar and Cran murders because of the material they've been pointing out. But I mean, is it, hey, these guys would probably be good at raising funds to fight a lawsuit?
I think he might not want to go against, for us because we have too big of audiences or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe I don't want to take on too many people at once because there would be too many.
Yeah. Because he, as I said, most of these accounts, except for the Murdered by Crane and Milk Bar, are very small accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
could be it. Knowing you guys, he'll probably have 150,000 by tomorrow. No, it sucks. I've noticed people are less likely to contribute to stuff like that for some reason. But I hope so. I hope they get enough to, because again, guys, that's why we're exposing all this stuff, and that's why we're pointing you towards the fundraiser. You gotta win this. They cannot lose this. They cannot lose this. If they actually have to back down because they cannot fund fighting this in court, That is very bad. This will be used by the Tates. You see, all these people who've been posting things, we brought a lawsuit because they were lying. And why did they back down? Because they knew they were lying about us. We have been completely exonerated, and they will use this to dupe more people. Whereas the alternative is everyone chips in some money. These guys crush the Tates in court, and then they get to shout this from the rooftops. This guy tried to sue us with a frivolous lawsuit. He lost. We won in court. The jury sided with us and admitted everything we said was completely correct about these guys.
They will lie about everything if they succeed with this.
Yep. Indeed. Would Tate approve the Zoots riding him with Mo? He probably would. Probably would love that. As a diagnosed psychopath, what emotions do you feel? Anger, rage, contempt, greed, all the negative stuff. That's what you have. That's what you have when you're. That's what you have when you're. I'm just talking about like when you grow up. It looks like you have all the negative stuff that keeps you constantly enraged and pissed off and feeling superior to everyone else and stuff. So, yeah,
it's kind of funny.
Mo loves. What's wrong with everyone here? Queers for Palestine should revisit the Boom Boom Room to talk about the El Zut this time with 3 members: Gay P, Gay Vid, and Gayman. We might need Muhammad meets Al Zut in the Boom Boom Room. And they're like standing around him the entire time. And he's like, hey guys, what's up? Yeah, don't mess with us. By the way, guys, so I think that's around, what is that video? I think it's around 500,000. Hang on, let me see. Because there's a reason for making that, guys. I've pointed it out. I pointed it out already in a past live stream that the point is, AP, did we not warn these guys? Did I not warn them that if they keep lying about the Bible, that I said I wouldn't lie. They're lying. They lie about the Bible. Oh, but Rebecca was 3 and the Catholic Encyclopedia says Mary was 12. These are just flat out lies. And I warned them, if you guys are going to keep lying, I'm not going to encourage people to lie in response, but what I will do is I will quote all these sensitive issues where lots of times we'd be inclined to give the benefit of the doubt. It's like, okay, something weird's going on here, but I don't know what. So I'm not going to give it the worst possible spin. Here's the situation. You've got this. So it's at 520,000. This was an example. There's all this stuff that's messed up in your sources that I could take. And again, not lying about it. I don't have to give you the benefit of the doubt or give this a nice interpretation. I could give it the most messed up interpretation. So anyway, that's got 500,000. I'm going to wait till that hits 1 million, which it will. I'm going to wait till that hits 1 million. Then I'm going to post a video warning you guys again, because you have all this stuff like Muhammad's semen stains. What's the source of the semen stains? Well, the best scenario is like he's using his own garments that he goes to the mosque with as a semen rag after he has sex. That's the best interpretation. The best interpretation, he's gross. Worst interpretation, that's someone else's semen, like Dehal Kalbi's or even a goat's or something like that. Guess what? We don't know where the semen actually came from. We don't know, which means all we have are theories. I can go with the worst, meanest theory if I want to, and I can put that out there. Same thing with Muhammad sleeping with his dead aunt in the grave. Went and slept in her grave. The word there, it's like our English word, he slept with her. It can just mean slept, but it can also mean banged. What happens? We can give that the worst possible interpretation. You got all these hadiths about Muhammad being in the garments of his wives. There are other people, what is this, a euphemism for something? Does it just mean he's like under the covers and, he folds her garment over? What is this? Well, the worst interpretation that according to you would be that he's actually prancing around and he's a cross-dresser. Guess what, guys? I could take any one of these issues and spread it around and get 1 million people all pointing that out. Look at what your prophet did. I can do that. And it's not even lying. It's like, okay, that's what it sounds like that. Normally we're inclined to give the benefit of the doubt. Okay, maybe it was something else. And then people don't use it. We can all be using this stuff left and right. And if you want to go there because you're actually lying, I can get everyone going in these places with your prophet, and you're not going to like it, but this is your choice.
This makes me want to make a song called Where'd the Semen Come From?
You got to figure out a good. Is that going to be a parody of something? If so, we need something like that, or just a song. Where did the semen come from?
Where did the semen come from? Something like that.
Where did that semen come from? Was it from a goat or from a zoot? Was it D.L. Cubby or does Muhammad just make a semen rag out of his suit that he wears to the mosque where he hugs it out with all his Dawa bros, leaking semen all over their clothes? That was improv, man. I even have multiple rhymes in there. See, people sit there and think that, and they're like, "Oh man, David must have been working on that song for years." No, that was just straight out the dome. Straight out the dome.
Genius, man.
So we've got Bo Rudder there. Yes, you've got Robert Spencer's Critical Quran. There he includes critical commentary. So definitely good to have Robert Spencer's Critical Quran. I don't know what situation you're going to be using that. If you're going to be sitting down talking to a Muslim, you probably don't want the Critical Quran there because he's going to be like, "Oh, I'm not listening to you. You're an Islamophobe," or something like that. Good for your own personal research, though. What is Muhammad's trans name? Momo the Homo. What do you think?
That's true. That's it.
Oh, no, that's not a trans, though. I don't know. I'd have to think about his trans name. We need a David Wood study Quran flavored. So if we get hungry while studying, we can just vent a page. Yeah. I'm going to make mine out of chocolate.
It could be a thing. It could be a study Quran that at the end of it also has has multiple random Quran pages that you can always rip out and eat.
Yeah. And then some can be like scratch and sniff. And it can it can have pages that have targets on them for use with target practice. We could actually have a whole Quran activities pack. Hey, we could sell a Quran activities a Quran desecration activities pack. How awesome would that be? You get a box, you get a whole box. It's like an Artsa box, but it's filled with different ways to.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's not something you could sell on Amazon or something like that, but we should make some boxes one day and like at a conference or something like that and have everyone can get their own Quran desecration activity pack. Wait, but you laugh often. What emotion is that? I don't know. What emotion is that?
Tickles.
Yeah, I have that one. Let's see. No, never hold back. Always bring this up. It's Wasabi Pimp Ninja. Not sure exactly what you're... Never hold back. Always bring this up. I'm not sure which one you're talking to, but yeah, definitely need to bring all that stuff up. Oh, yeah. I guess you're talking about all the things I were just talking about Muhammad. Yeah, bring that stuff up all the time. Bring up Al-Zut all the time. They've brought themselves to this point. JP Uncut says, you have a nice smile indeed. Can't wait to see you in New York City, possibly. Oh, we'll be in New York City, JP Uncut. You know what's coming. With God Logic. Most ethical man is Mo. This needs to be torn. That's true. Very ethical. Stop making me laugh at such horrible things. Yeah, AP, making Solaria laugh at all this messed up stuff, man. Yeah, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you.
Disgusting.
All right. Anything else we need to cover to do with any of this? I have a ton of videos to pull up, but a lot of people have seen these videos, seen if anything else. Matter of fact, I don't have it in there right now, ladies and gentlemen, but matter of fact, I'll put it in right now. I wanted to add, so we saw earlier, matter of fact, I will put this back on the screen. I'll put this back on the screen. The claim specifically against Milk Bar, Let me see if I can get this. So we've got this lawsuit. I should add the lawsuit as well, but I want to get this up. All right. I'm adding to the description a thread, which is Milk Bar taking screenshot of all of these accusations and then sending people to what he actually said or the video he actually shared, so people can see how absolutely insane this is. It's like, here's a video proving from Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate's own words exactly what I'm saying is true. And then the lawsuit is, oh, they said this about Andrew and Tristan. Oh, this is so evil. They should be sued. This is defamation. So I'm adding a link right now. Thread showing Milk Bar TV is right about his claims. Going to add that. Just so I would encourage everyone, he's got videos. He's got videos, which is basically the Tates admitting exactly what he's accusing them of. And then they're suing him for defamation over this stuff. So that's how screwed up this stuff is. Anyway, just wanted everyone. So you see these 9 accusations here. These are the 9 accusations against MilkBarTV. And just shared a link where he shows what all of these accusations were, and that he is completely correct in what he has said, and therefore that this is bogus. I would encourage everyone to share that thread. If you're on X, share that, spread that around. Also individual points. Like if you go for point number 5 and say, hey, Murder by Crayons and MilkBarTV said this about the Tates, and Tates are suing them over this, but look, here's the video proving them correct. All this stuff helps. So guys, they're basically, there are those of you who can contribute financially to the lawsuit so they can fight this in court and not back down. This is for the good of the future of humanity. Keep in mind, Tate needs to be exposed. This is a must-win situation. You can't back down from this. These guys must not lose at all costs. These guys must not lose this lawsuit. The world's going to be very, very bad if Tates can get away with silencing people at this level. So they have to win that. So if you can chip in, again, most people would have no problem chipping in $5 or something like that. If a bunch of people do that, then get the lawsuit covered really quick. So chip in if you can, but even if you can't, you should be sharing this stuff. So you can at least share a link to the lawsuit and what it's for, something like that, but also the stuff exposing Tate. So help out Milk Bar and Murder by Crayons, sharing their content, spreading it around. People spreading the content around is what helped get the attention of actual, some important media personalities to share that even further. So do whatever you can, do whatever you can. Must-win situation, must-win situation. Let's see. Arctic Base says, here's a little something from my favorite cam girls. Yep, we'll pass that on to all the cam girls. Now I want to make an origami cross out of Quran pages. Yeah, send me what you come up with. I mean, send me a picture of what you come up with, Judas. I hadn't thought of that. The closest thing I made to that was my Quranagami Star of David Christmas tree topper that I gave to Issa back in the day. Well,
you gave it to Issa?
Yeah, I gave it to him during my debate with Robert Spencer at DebateCon.
That's funny.
I actually announced it at the beginning, and I said, "Hey, Issa's really cool. Issa's cool. He's got one parent who's Jewish, one parent who's Muslim, but he really acts like a Christian a lot. So to celebrate all the diverse religious influences on Issa, I've made him a Star of David Christmas tree topper out of a page of the Quran." And he came and I said, "Now come get it." He actually came and got it. It was funny. Issa's super cool sport.
I know when we were at DebateCon, I was wearing a name tag that said Allah on it, and I was kind of worried because he's kind of technically a Muslim, but he came and he started cracking up. So
yeah,
he was like, "Dude, this is hilarious."
And see, he's got a good attitude in the sense that if you were a Muslim and you didn't care about something like that, there's basically 2 possibilities. So one possibility would be you actually don't care about God at all or something like that. You don't care about any of these things, and that's why you wouldn't be bothered by it. The other alternative is what his perspective actually is. He thinks God is beyond all this stuff, and he's not getting all butthurt over stuff that we're doing and stuff. Reasons to laugh: Schadenfreude, absurdity, mirth. There we go. So those are the reasons I laugh. AP, Produce David Seaman's song ASAP. Okay, so you got to take what
I'm doing it right now.
You got to take what got to take my awesome improv session and make it even better, if that's even possible. Has Fareed said anything about the Islamic dilemma? Back in the day, I don't know if he said anything recently. If so, I haven't seen it. But if he does, and he will, because they're going to go, watch, they're all going to go into panic over this. It's going to happen. They're all going to go into panic mode over this. And Fareed is one of the guys who'll be trying to respond and be giving terrible responses. What are you saying?
We should probably make a response to something that Fareed said recently. I don't know if you saw that. Did IP send it to you?
What is it?
So Fareed responded to IP on Twitter. I wanted to respond to Fareed, but Fareed blocked me a while ago. Which is funny. He didn't block me because he got annoyed by me commenting on him. He blocked me because he said he's annoyed to see my posts and to see people talking about me. It makes him feel very sad. But so what he did is he responded to something that IP made a post in which he pointed out that the Gospel of John is a witness testimony, and Fareed then responded to it by saying that there is no single instance in the Gospel of John where the author actually says I saw this or Jesus said this to me.
Has he read it?
I guess he would be correct if you are going to say there is no explicit statement in the Gospel of John where he says, Jesus said this to me, or I saw this.
Yeah, if you were looking for some exact words combination rather than...
Yeah. But it's very, very clear, no matter who you are, that the Gospel of John, that the author of the Gospel of John clearly is describing himself as witnessing things and being told things in the presence of Jesus and the apostles. But Fareed chimed in and said, actually, in the Gospel of John, there is not a single instance where the author said, Jesus told me this, so I have seen this. So that probably needs some reaction, I don't know.
Dawa is very, very, very powerful. Very powerful. Yeah, we might have to do something. Might have to do something on that. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it as far as this issue is concerned. So, guys, help out MilkBarTV and Murder by Crayons, however you can. I got links in the description to the fundraiser and to the thread going through all this stuff and so on. Help those guys out if you can. Make a Kuranagame doll of Bottom G, man.
Yes.
That'd be cool. I actually thought it's a serious nightmare. It's a serious nightmare. There is a way to make an origami sports car. It's very advanced and sort of nightmarish. But for years, I've been planning to make Andrew Tate an origami Bugatti. A Kuranagami Bugatti. I planned that a couple of years ago. I never got around to do it. It's because you have to. One, you have to. For when I would do Kuranagami in a video and like just be folding it up, that means I practice that a lot, right? So one, you have to learn how to make it, and then you have to get to where you can make it very, very easily, like off the top of your head while you're being recorded and stuff like that. And so it's a nightmare series of folds to get a sports car. Something you can make a cheesy little sports car. But you could actually make one that looks like a fancy sports car. It's kind of a nightmare situation, but yeah, we'll have to see. If there comes a time where I'm willing to dedicate basically 3 days of my life to making Andrew Tate a Bugatti out of the Quran, I'll do it. Let's see. And Tarun here. Matt Dilla and Mo Hijab are needed for laughs. Enough with the veganism, Tarun. We're not falling for it. And Andrew can be bad, but why Tristan hated? Tristan is every bit as awful as Andrew, if not worse so.
I think Tristan might actually be worse than Andrew Tate, despite appearing not to be so.
That's possible. That could be. Guy is sick, evil pervert. Yep. And we said it here. Tristan, in case you want to tack that onto the lawsuit. Woohoo! All right, guys. We got anything planned, AP, for the future? Anything worth noting?
Are you live with Robert tomorrow?
I'll be live with Robert for This Week in Jihad tomorrow.
Powerful. So that's what we do.
Live with Robert tomorrow, and then should have a video up in the morning, guys. Should have a video up in the morning. Pretty dope stuff. Good stuff. So check that out. All right, everyone. Catch y'all next time.
Catch y'all
in the flippity flop.